Pan-Africanism is them basically coming over here, eating off us. That's all it is. It's one-sided. And they got a problem with that. You understand?
All right, so we going into the origins of FBA, why it got started. We got to keep doing this because again, when you have uh informants, haters, trolls, tethers, white supremacists, they keep trying to rewrite our narrative, our history. So every so often we got to remind the people, and we got new people coming into the knowledge of self. And sometimes messages are repetitive, right? That happens a lot. 4th of July happens every year, right? They want to remind people of how the country got started, right? So same thing with us. We don't want nobody controlling our narrative. That's why we trademark stuff, copyright stuff, patent stuff, and then innovate, invent, and here we are. And of course, every time I do it, I got additional information. So the origins, we're talking about the origins. So when you talk about the origins, we talk about Pan-Africanism, right? Because this was going on, like this was the solution. This is where we need to be. We need to have this global uh tribe where everybody just get along on some Rodney King. But that was all gravy until we noticed Pan-Africanism was one-sided. So Tariq is going to go into that. I'm going to play some tone talks. I'm going to give it from different sides. I'm going to play people, Deborah Dickerson. I'm going to play people you never heard of. They're not so popular. Tone talks. We're going to see some. Well, we seen Dr. Clout yesterday, maybe some today, but here we are.
They're not dumb. They're just upset because now they can't come in and co-opt nothing no more. They can't come in and undermine. That's the only reason they're mad. Why else would people be mad at us talking about our
Right.
lineage? Let's
It's so
be clear,
confusing
family.
to us.
Ain't
So
nobody
confusing.
dumb. These people are not dumb. They're not confused. They're not naive. They know good and well we ain't no group. They know we ain't no cult.
Right.
That's FBI Fed talk. That's propaganda talk.
Informant talk.
They know it's a lineage and a powerful lineage, and they've been ruining the day that we wake up and start looking at how powerful our lineage is. We've woken up and we're seeing that our lineage is powerful, and us embracing our lineage and standing on that lineage, that was the deal breaker for them. That's why they've been doing these psyops on us, telling us we're lost, displaced Africans. We are Katas. We don't know where we came from. We ain't got no culture. When people do that, they're trying to run a Jedi mind trick on you.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
They're trying to that's like a dude's trying, women, let me talk to the women. You know how a dude who tries to break you down and manipulate you so he can control you and say, you ain't that cute. Ain't no other don't want you. Girl, you getting fat. They try to tell you all this stuff to try to bring you down psychologically. You understand?
Right. Right.
Knowing
I get
that
it.
you are catch and knowing that if somebody else sees value in
Right.
you,
It's
then
over.
it's over for him.
Look, I said the
You
same thing.
see? They've been doing the same thing with us. They understand the value we have, but they've been running a game and a Jedi mind trick on us so
Peace,
that
Muck Muck,
we don't
world's
see the
best
value
braider.
in ourselves. We see it
Yeah,
now,
hit the like. This is gonna be a deep one right here.
and I want to make sure we see it.
I got a lot of stuff, man.
You understand? We see it fully,
Might be a 5 hour live. Who
and
knows?
we've rejected the term African American,
There
so
we
they
go.
can't leach off that. African American,
There we
horrible term. We
go.
should never.
So this was a perfect segue. So he started off, but remember, we're talking about the origins of FBA. When I say FBA, I'm using FBA to also be interchangeable with ADOS and Friedman. Okay. So I see the origins of FBA because FBA is this is the most widely known, term for it. So that's why I use FBA over ADOS and Friedman. But they're all to me, they're all acceptable. They all represent us. They all cover our lineage without any inclusivity, right? No confusing at all. But I'm using FBA. So he touched on Pan-Africanism first. How we seen, hey man, this is a one-way effort here. This is just coming from Black Americans. Okay, and now he segued into African American, that term, how we're seeing. So remember, first we seen Pan-Africanism was a scam. Now we're seeing the term African American is a scam. So we like, wait a minute, we've been scammed the whole time. So let me go back a little bit.
We see it fully, and we've rejected the term
Yep.
African American, so they can't leech off that. African American, horrible term. We should never,
Right.
ever
Right.
use that
Right.
term again.
Yo, hold on. Let me pause it.
That's what they really.
Let me pause it. Listen, man. Anybody 35 and older, all the way to like people be calling in at 60 years old or in the chat, 60, 70. Let's be honest. If you used it, it's okay. It's no problem. Right. But what I mean by using, like, of course, it was like legally there. So you got to check the box. But when somebody asks you, hey, like if a police officer said, hey, can you describe Benny? You said Benny took the bike. Can you describe him? We wouldn't say he's African American. We'd say he's black. Like we ain't, I ain't. That was a term that outsiders, outside even white folks, probably will use. But people in the know, on code, without even being on code, we said black. Again, the Black Panthers, not the African American Panthers. Black Power, not African American Power. You dig? Black Wall Street, not African American Wall Street. I could go on and on and on. You dig? Elijah Muhammad wrote a book called The Message to the Black Man, not the message to the African American man. James Brown said, I'm black and I'm proud. Steve Coakley said Black Power, right? He didn't say African American power. All right. So y'all get the point. Let's go.
Mad at. See, we're not using terms that they can leech off of.
Right.
So when we start talking about foundational Black American, that's an exclusionary term, which is fine.
That's a world break.
When you say Jamaican, that's exclusionary.
Okay. Right, exactly. So Tariq, this was something he did recently, and I thought he just summed it up. Like, if he was to sum up everything, I thought this was a perfect sum up. He didn't take in calls. He just went all the way in. Check it out.
I'm not Jamaican. Respect to the Jamaicans, but I'm not Jamaican. Mm-hmm. I ain't got a problem being excluded from that. When you say Haitian, that's exclusionary. I'm not Haitian. Don't have a problem with it. You have the Puerto Rican Day Parade. That's exclusionary. It's for Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Don't have a problem with it.
But pause it again before you go. Right. So this is why our ancestors, like Frederick Douglass, rejected the term African. They knew the trick bag was coming next. They knew this whole, ICE, well, you African, right? Aren't you from Africa? Okay, they could deport you too to one of those countries. You did, because you African, right? You did. You Puerto Rican, you get deported to Puerto Rico. You did. So whatever you claim, you will get deported to that name of the country. So if you're Venezuelan, you get deported to Venezuela. You dig? If you're Russian, you get deported to Russia. If you are Nigerian, guess where you're going? If you're Jamaican, guess where you're going? All right. If you're foundational Black American, guess where you're not going? That's what folks are mad at.
But when we say we're foundational Black Americans, you're divisive. The CIA got you niggas want to hurt me. You're stopping global unity. What? Why does our lineage stop all of this global unity? Why don't you just go unify? Why are we stopping your unification?
Right.
What you're saying is we're stopping the damn gravy train. We're stopping you from coming over here eating off African American lineage, which is vague. See, we ain't using them terms where you can come in and you can be the Westmore of the game. You come in, hey, I'm African American, and guess what? I'm shutting down reparations. We don't need it.
Right.
Yeah. It's a new game, man. That's what it is. We ain't using African American no more. Number one, that term was not grassroots or organic. That term was introduced by Jesse Jackson through the Democrat strategists in 1988. There was no nationwide discussion among Black Americans.
Right, at all, zero.
That rollout was from the top. That came from the damn top down. It was pushed through the white media and government agencies as a replacement for Black.
Right. Okay.
You understand? Come on now. What they did, they ran a Jedi mind trick with us. Because you know what they did with African American? They
No
rebranded
more muck
foundational
muck.
Black Americans as goddamn immigrants when they did that. They effectively rebranded us as immigrants,
See?
equal to an Italian American or an
Right,
Irish American or a
right,
Mexican American. That
right.
was a horrible thing. They was a Jedi mind
Venezuelan
trick they ran
American.
on us with that. That's why we reject that term full-fledged,
Not
because it
falling for that.
erases our distinct lineage.
Yep.
Foundational Black Americans, we are descendants of freedmen. We've been here from the very before the beginning of this country. We've been here. We're the only group that has the longest continuous bloodline on this land. You understand? There's been Black people on this land from day one. And when you do that African American thing, that lumps Black immigrants in from Africa and the Caribbean,
Yep.
people who came over voluntarily, people who immigrated to
Even the
something
white
better.
South Africans. Not
And
yet.
that comes in and that kind of dilutes our historic trauma and contributions as foundational Black Americans, and it creates policy confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying no.
No.
And that opens the door for these non-FBA immigrants to claim benefits meant for foundational Black Americans
Right. Muck muck. And that's
by
what our
using
ancestors said.
African
Call us
American
Negro color.
broadly,
Don't
like
call us African.
institutions, colleges, foundations, media. They start awarding scholarships, grants, diversity positions to Black immigrants and their children.
Okay, this is great. I gotta pause. I can't play the whole video. That's just disrespectful, let alone stealing. So, but you see the video is called "Was the Term African American a Government Trap?" I'll play all of this, but I gotta talk in between. That's why it's called a reaction. All right. So 420 says the real African are in Africa, right? Call them tethers, cowards for fleeing. So now they want to call themselves African American. Yeah, they can keep all that coward stuff. World's Best Braider says the tethers are African American. Yeah, man. Listen, y'all could whatever you want to call yourself, foreign blacks, go ahead. But it won't be Adolf's, Friedman, or FBA.
That's why in a lot of these Ivy League schools, African
These
American,
urban
quote
communities.
unquote, the student population is dominated by Ghanaians, Nigerians, Jamaicans, all of these other people. We do a
Yeah.
Juneteenth program. All of a sudden, everybody has the runners-ups and the winners have African last names or Latin last names. So yeah, they want us to be on some old sleep ass African American vibe because everybody can leech off of it. That's a leech term. Yeah? They can use that to co-opt all of the movements we get popping. Civil rights, hip hop, all of these protest movements, they start to get co-opted by these non-FBAs. We get shit popping in the streets like my good brother, rest in peace, Darren Seals, my good FBA brother, who the alphabet folks took my brother out. He was the real seed for the Black Lives Matter movement. Our brother Darren Seals out there in St. Louis, real solid ass dude. That was my nigga, man. It was such a sound thing. And they started marginalizing him, and they started sending them alphabet boys out there
I want to get back to this.
justice for Mike Brown, hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter, immigrant lives matter. What? Whoa, what's all this shit? Then it just went all the way left, and then all of a sudden they start pushing
PDF
these weird people saying,
files
hey,
matter.
these are the leaders of Black Lives Matter. Leaders? What you mean leaders? What's that? Watch when people come in and talk about somebody's a leader. See, Black Lives Matter, that was just a phrase.
Yep, got to gatekeep it.
There was really no organization that was centralized called Black Lives Matter. It was some Democrat shills that they put out there in the media and said, hey, these are the leaders. So whatever these people say, and those women were tethers, and they were on some LGBT stuff. So their job was the media was going to elevate them based off the grassroots momentum that foundational Black Americans were kicking in. They went and got these tethers, put them in the media and said, they're the leader of all of this. So all of these people in the streets putting in work, they're doing it for these women's agendas. And the agenda is immigration and LGBT rights.
Yep.
See how all of these people are stumping for that? That's why we're like, no, 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 no. Anybody runs up here trying to be spokespersons, we're checking paperwork now. We're checking paperwork right now. Because we ain't having that bullshit no more.
Yeah, because the Pan-Africanist movement never really popped off. Like, it never went viral. It was disorganized, disunified. It's a bunch of people just putting on kufis and wearing dashikis and lighting incense, walking around, being woke. Right, that was it. So they felt like, all right, we can't rely on that. So let's throw out the term African American. Dig, and let's use that. Let's see where that goes. So they was trying different devices to try to get us away from our lineage.
We ain't doing that no more. Yeah.
Checking TV, peace.
So the thing is,
He says black immigrants shouldn't be able to use African American. It wasn't historically given to them. FBA dropped the ball when we didn't stand against it. Now we ain't dropped the ball. They could have that shit. Uh, African American, nah, hell no. First of all, what's African about us? You gonna run to the DNA? Well, so is the Jamaicans, and so is, you know what I mean? And you want to play that game? Well, so is the Haitians, and so is the Bohemians, and so is the Belizeans, and all everybody else. They all got Dominicans. Okay, are they also African, Jamaican, African, Bohemian, African, Haitian, Jamaican, African, Dominican Republic, African, Panamanian? They're just ridiculous. No, we didn't drop no damn ball. We kicked that ball over the fence. We're playing kickball. We kicked that ball over the fence. And we know our history. We know that we never embraced the term African. Matter of fact, a statement like that, I'm gonna send the phone number in there. You say something like that, I'm gonna see if you want to call in and maybe you meant something else, or maybe you got more information to that. But here you go. Let me pause this right here. This message. You say something like that. That means you know something we don't know. There you go. That means you got a good grip of our history over here, and you know a lot about our ancestors and what they went through and how they thought. So that's the phone number for checking TV. All right. If he or she wants to explain what they mean by we dropped the ball when we let African American go. That's the phone number. That's for anybody who believes that we should have kept the term African American. That's the phone number. Call in. We ain't gonna argue. We're gonna talk like scholars. We're gonna talk like civilized human beings. You dig? But that is the phone number. We can retire it, but don't reassign African American to anyone else. Now, I like that. So now, if that's what you meant, checking TV, I agree with that. If you said we can retire it, let it go, and then but protect it from gatekeep it from immigrants, okay, like that's an idea to consider. If that's what you meant, okay, cool. But if you're saying like African American was a proper terminology for us, call in and let's talk about it.
them using the term African American, that wrongly frames foundational Black Americans as foreigners. When you use the term African American, that implies an African origin over American indigenousness.
Now he's about to say something that's going to drop a bomb. But anybody who believes that the term African American is more proper, more fitting, that's the phone number. I never get the phone number that early. I'm not even in the video yet. What I want to do here, the origins. Vague and ambiguous terms like Black or African American have only harmed us. Right. Let me give chosen 1619. So I gave so yeah, like the video as you come in. So I gave the reconstruction report a wrench. I gave chosen 1619 a wrench. Go ahead and like the video. Um, yeah, but anytime y'all have something that's like difference opinion, you could put it in the chat. No problem. You dig? But if we say elaborate, elaborate in the chat, or you can call in. Right? I want to be
Yeah,
one with you.
that ignores that we built the U.S. economy.
Breeze, peace.
We built the infrastructure. We cleared the brush. We cleared the wilderness. We
Yeah,
are no goddamn
we don't know
immigrants
about
at
that.
all. We should not even be compared to immigrants at all. That's just a fact.
And if y'all was blessed yesterday, I went over some of my research in the history of immigration in America. And as you see, though the historians from the Cato Institute, they understood immigrants, migrants are totally different than people who were brought over here against their will and were worked as or were enslaved for hundreds of years. Big difference.
We didn't come to something better. We had to get it out the damn mud. We didn't
And
look
we
up.
the only people to get out the mud too. Nobody
We
else.
had to get it. Everything we had to get it out the damn mud as foundational Black Americans. We had to create it. You understand? That's a very unique ethnogenesis shaped on this soil. That's unique. And we're embracing that. We're not going to
Exactly, Breeze.
let our
Yeah, he killed
ancestors
this
be
one.
disrespected by people coming over, claim jumping the sacrifices they made. They made those sacrifices for their foundational Black American offspring. They did that for us. They didn't do that shit for no goddamn Myron Gaines
Right.
and people like him to come over here and disrespect them. We don't allow that to happen, family. See, that's what we messed up. We sat up in
We
for the
need 30 more
longest, let
likes.
these damn tethers disrespect our
30 more
damn
likes.
ancestors after all the shit our ancestors did. That's why I'm hell on them niggas. The Myron Gaines, I'm hell on them.
We always behind on likes.
I don't play with them at all. Anybody who disrespects our lineage, I got a zero tolerance for that ass.
Right.
They always run, oh, your technique is divisive because I cut your ass
Global
down
Post
verbally.
News, peace.
I'll light your ass up.
Right. Nobody had respect for that.
I'll be divisive because you ain't gonna disrespect
I'll
my
be
people,
divisive.
my family, who made a way for you to bring your ass over here and you gonna fix your mouth to disrespect? Hell no. My ancestors would have issues with me if I don't stand up knowing the truth. You understand? You defend your ancestors, man. You defend your people.
Right.
You defend your lineage.
I need some
All right, so what I'm gonna do now is you heard Tariq Nasheed explain it, so I'm gonna give y'all a different angle because everybody, claim like everybody try to make it about Tariq Nasheed. If he said it, it must be wrong. All right, well I'm gonna let Tone Talk say it.
$100,000 hard. And I think fundamentally what we end up with is not understanding who immigrates here, why they immigrate here, and how it's problematic to see them in the same box of quote-unquote blackness as somebody like myself who grew up with single parent, 16-year-old parents, who has multiple generations of costs that come from American slavery, American action. You can't understand this without understanding the chart I'm showing you now. In this chart...
Okay, so let me finish this up.
I break things down into quadrants. This is how I seen it in my mind. I created this chart. What it shows that slavery lasted nearly all of the 1600s, all of the 1700s, all of the 1800s, and bled into the 1900s. What you have right now is a group of people, from Obama to Kamala, that came largely after the major cost of being black in America and came in from elite backgrounds and were brought here for whatever particular purpose by the government, whether it be to cover up black struggle or whether it be because they asked to come. They're here now, but they do not represent the struggle of what it costs to actually make America and why America owes reparations and are repairing to the American DOS, the African American community. You can't understand this argument without going all the way back to Jesse Jackson in 1980s with the creation of the term African American. To understand this in a larger context, you should go read my article, African Americans Are More Than Just Africans in America. Fundamentally, the term African American is summarily flawed in the sense that it is a continent and a country, African American. Africans don't use it in Africa. But when they come here, it's an access point to all of that lineage cost, to all of that access fighting that we did, so that they can start off not at the crux of being a newer immigrant, rather someone who has longstanding access, debt with the country. And that's what's going on. That's what is happening right now. So you come here from West Africa and you can access Jackie Robinson scholarships and Thurgood Marshall programs because you're black. But I can't go to Nigeria and access anything. And I think that, one, Nigeria is a developing nation, so that's really weird that I go there and I get nothing. But then when you come here, you get everything under the guise that we're all black, when this stuff was created to repair the reason why I struggle as a DOS. Let's get it. For those people that say, well, the Caribbean had DOS as well. I respect that. But I also respect that Haiti was colonized by the French, Jamaica, England. I respect the fact that those debts are owed by those countries that oppress those people. And if anything is given to that group, I'm not going to step in the way of it. We got a problem here. We have not dealt with the reality of how debts are paid, how litigation is brought, how who's owed what, and as a result, who's left standing on the outside are American DOS families that are carrying the cost of this. Come on, because you gotta see this thing for what it is. What I additionally want to say is, in no way is the American DOS movement, the ADOS movement, perpetuating any sense of violence or anything against anyone. What we are saying is that we're going to stand up for ourselves now. What we are saying is we're going to demand that you speak for us. What we are saying is that I don't have any family outside of the country, so DACA really isn't my main or even on the list of my concerns. Yeah, we saying that. In a country where there's lead in the water in Flint, in a country where there's feces in the backyard in Alabama, Loudoun County, in a country where there are more black men incarcerated than all women on the planet. Let me say that again. There are more American descendant of slave black men incarcerated than all women on the planet. There's about 700,000 in each group. 4 billion women planet-wide produce 700,000 prisoners. 20 million African American males, including babies, that come from slavery, American slavery.
All right, so let me if you need to completely disassociate with African and Caribbean financially. Torino 3, peace. I'm gonna throw you a wrench, just like the video. Everybody should like the video before I see you, Claude. Somebody made a statement. I meant to read it. Lala, peace. I'm joking, by the way. Also, hello, room, FBA News Updates. Peace. I didn't get a chance to read it. Oh, wow. Frederick, what's going on? Higher Heights, I see you there. Okay, somebody wrote something, and I wanted to read. I think it was Fred. Yeah, Frederick. He said, grassroots African American, when got to throw in I guess we got to throw in an adjective to express our position here, because we're not the only Africans, brother. I don't know what you mean by that. When you say Africans, like, see, the thing is, like, nobody can really define what an African is. All right, so where's that phone number? Maybe it makes more sense if Frederick say it rather than type it. Where's that phone number? Maybe Frederick wanna call in. Oh damn, I can't spell. I didn't realize I spelled phone. I didn't add the H. I put phone. No wonder what you call in. I put phone number. Okay. So this is for Frederick, because maybe Frederick can call in and explain what he means. Because the way he typed it didn't really make any sense to me. Okay, here you go. So right there, Frederick, call in and play Clout Innocent content. Yeah, I played Clout Innocent yesterday. So go ahead. I'm gonna do a little bit of him today, but yesterday was the Clout Innocent show. So go ahead and look at the live from yesterday. You'll see it was all about Dr. Clout Innocent, Paranomics. I was playing some Dr. Clout Innocent today, but I wasn't live. Some new up-to-date stuff. He was doing something called the community versus the neighborhood, something like that. It was pretty good. Right. So I want to see if Frederick want to call in and explain why we need to have an adjective. So he said we're not the only Africans. So I think we are the only Africans. You know, if we always been the only Africans in this country in a misnomer way. Like they named us Africans. Like which country? But nobody else was named Africans, just us. So we were always we have always been given names that's not who we are. We've been called colored, we've been called Negro, we've been called Africans, we've been called just black. You dig? So we're the generic African. We're the generic black man, black woman. All right. And that's it. That's over. So no, I don't believe we're African American because that's the language of an immigrant. Like you have Jamaican Americans, Italian Americans, Irish Americans, you know, British Americans. No, that is the terminology of an immigrant.
Slavery produced about 700,000 prisoners and another million on probation.
And this is for Frederick also. Frederick, consider this. That's why I need Frederick to call in. Anybody who believes we're African American or African, call in. I put the phone number there. Call in because I got a question back for you. Because I'm gonna say if we're African, I got a couple questions for you. How is this possible? Because we're totally different from those folks, even genetically. So our genetic makeup is totally different from a quote unquote African. Like Africans, quote unquote, all have something in common that we don't have in common with them. And I want to talk to Frederick or somebody else who believes that. Call in.
How then do you want me to talk about the border if we're dealing with survival here? I think.
All right, so he said he'd get it. All right, so Frederick, I'm gonna throw you a wrench because you seem like you're on cold right now. I'm gonna watch you though. But I like the video, Frederick. Everybody like the video. We ain't got nowhere near the likes. But let me see it real fast. Listen. So, hey, Frederick, this was the question I was going to ask you. And family, ask this question to Africans, you know, who call themselves African, right? Ask them this question back. How much percentage of African DNA needs to be in you for you to be African? Right? Just ask that question. Because from what I know is that we have a lot of non-African DNA in our ancestry and in our DNA. And I want to know which quote unquote African shares that much non-African DNA as we do. Because the quote unquote African from Africa, all of those folks are about 90 to 99% them. Let me explain. A Nigerian is DNA wise, they are 90 to 99% Nigerian. Ethiopian, same. Ghanaian, same. Eritrean, same. South African, same. Just name it. They all 90 to 99% them. Ain't no black person in America 99 or 90% nothing in Africa. You dig? So it's like, so just on that, like we're not African. If we are African, we're not African like you. So again, what makes somebody African? What percentage? So you got to make up some pseudoscience up. Look, y'all African, cool, because y'all from that continent. We're American because we're from this continent, or this country. We're from this country, but continent also, North America. So we're American, right? That's how that goes. But we're foundational Black Americans on top of that.
I think that the reason it's important to you is you do have family outside the country. Well, you need to have your own group. Part of the problems we don't know the numbers. There's about 42 million, 40 million blacks. Only 300, 400,000 are Nigerian. Only 1 million are Jamaican. Every other group is nominal from there. If you look at
hold on. Okay, let's go back. Listen to the numbers because Tone got you might not like Tone for whatever reason, but he got the numbers. You might not like Tariq Nasheed, but he got the history, right? So everybody play a vital role in this
country. Well, you need to have your own group. Part of the problems we don't know the numbers. There's about 42 million, 40 million blacks. Only 300, 400,000 are Nigerian. Only 1 million are Jamaican. Every other group is nominal from there. If you
heard that, ain't a lot of them over here. Like they be talking like they're somewhere near our numbers. Tashi said, "I've never identified as African. My genealogy has not one ancestor arriving to America from a slave ship. I'm not going to claim being African if I can't even prove that I'm." Exactly. Hey, AVI said, "Good morning." She must be. Oh yeah, it is the morning. It feels later. I woke up so early. DL said the African DNA conversation opens the door to the CIA, the self-hating coon, and the bed bug and the bed wench. We are, he said, we are of African descent. Yeah. So we even that's kind of like vague. So because there's no African nothing. Like you're from a country in Africa, right? Because you think a Ethiopian has Nigerian descent or no, they got nothing to do with each other. But they share one thing is that they down the road comes from that continent. Yes, we also too. Way down the road somewhere, we come from that continent. Right. Cool. And we never deny that. But we're not African, right? We just like nobody else is. A Nigerian's Nigerian, Ethiopian's not Ethiopian, and so on and so forth.
Look at Joy Reid, she comes from the Congo. We might not have 100,000 people from the Congo in America. So how are you on TV representing the ADOS community? Because there's a confusion about who we are, what we are.
Hey yo, I got hella more clips to play. So this is so what Tone is doing is piggybacking from where Tariq came off. Because when Tariq says something, they act like, he said it, he's your leader. Nobody else is saying it. Well, Tone is piggybacking what Tariq said about African American and things like that. And like the video, we have nowhere near the likes that we should.
On what we stand for. But this goes deeper. We start looking back, we start seeing this whole like attempt to undermine any driver for black politics.
3M.
McCarthyism on full display with both Reid and also Rod.
So 3M says, Brother Ron, I enjoy your research. Have you heard of a black man named Albert Perry? He is a black man from South Carolina who did his genealogy, and it was older than any DNA. That name sounds familiar. The name may be familiar, but I can't tell you anything about him. But that might be something I'll look into. Matter of fact, I'll do it right now while we're talking. Okay. Okay. So research on the fly right now. We'll see. FSK.
McCarthyism, harkening back to when anytime somebody spoke up about politics that wasn't in the mainstream, it was the Russians that did it. Well, that's what you see with Rod and Reid. It's this attempt to undermine the growth of black politics by saying that the Russians are doing it with no support to say that the...
Okay, yeah, so that was Tether and Angela Reid. He's talking about when we were hashtagging like our delineation, and we were saying, hey, we're going to name ourselves. At this time, it was ADOS exclusively. They said, hey, that's just Russian bots. So that's what he's speaking to. Like, nah. They ain't saying we're Russian bots now.
Reparations, William Darity of Duke University.
Right, so this video is called, to watch the whole thing. This is called ADOS Explained by its creator, Joy Reid and Angela Rod, wrong on ADOS. You know, because I'm not playing full videos. I'm just showing what I need to show, and I'm moving on. I got hella videos. All right, so now they're going to discuss Pan-Africanism and why we need it. Oh shit, got it on pause.
Jersey, summers in St. Croix. Spent a lot of time there. That's what I call homeland, but obviously Africa, I feel like we all came from, as everybody should know. So yeah.
Love it. All right.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next,
go sit down, be insulted. Go sit down, be insulted.
Hi everyone. My name is Janet Akorkin. I am from Uganda. My parents both are from Uganda. I grew up here in America. I was born in Jersey City. By trade, I am a social worker, but I'm also a content creator, and I'll give you guys my details later on in the show. But I'm happy to be here and happy to discuss this topic today.
Yes,
Yep.
and as I want to interject, Jenna is actually my best friend since 4 years old, pre-K. We went to elementary school
twins.
together, middle school, high school, college, U of H, everything. So yeah, that's my twin. You know, we're so thankful that she's
Love
here, and we say
you.
that she's South Sudanese by association because
Right.
growing up, I brought her.
Chole.
She is.
Yeah.
She's from the Chole tribe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which there's some that are in Uganda, some in South Sudan. I'm not sure.
Because we're
where else.
Nilotic people, so we moved around.
Exactly.
And so she just so
They're pretty
happens to be a
much
Chole.
like on the border.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just someone
Yeah.
you know.
They are our
For
people.
The British put a line between like, oh, you guys are this, but they're
Yeah.
Exactly.
There are
So
people.
just want to put
Correct.
that out there.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
Love
Happy to be
you.
here.
Yeah. So next we have Tariq. A little controversial. A lot of people had, different perspectives on like what you were saying, but we love that you were able to stand on your viewpoint and articulate like how you felt. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Can you
So
believe these
the
aren't
flies
his real
won't get it.
teeth?
Sure.
Aspen Dental's implant dentures are custom and
Please.
natural looking with implants that are made to last a lifetime. And
My fault.
Yes, my name is
Let me
Tariq.
fast forward a little bit.
Born in Juba, Sudan. I live
A lot of us have roots to somewhere other than the United States. Obviously, we're based in Dallas, Texas right now. So to get into the topic, we want to dissect, is Pan-Africanism a realistic thing? Because we had a comment on one of our videos and someone was saying, okay, Pan-Africanism, great. Would South Sudanese back home in South Sudan welcome Black people from the diaspora into the country?
Okay, let me answer that question. All right, so Sudanese people, they don't come over here like the VVEX and the Chinese folks or Nigerians. They most likely come over here as I'm just being frank, as asylum seekers. This is the Myron Gaines folks. They come over here as refugees. When you come over here like that, you're coming over here broke. You're coming over here on welfare, all type of government assistance, federal, state. That's how you giving it up. Okay, and that's how you coming over here. I get them. I got them. Yeah, you're coming over here like that. So they're not coming over on H-1B1s and student visas, things like that. They're coming over here, like I said, as asylum seekers for the most part, refugees, broke, need American assistance, and that's just what it is.
With open arms and allow them opportunities to get into business and to advance, and would they be
Queen,
open to
peace.
that realistically? And that gave pause to me and Sarah, because we're in diaspora, and I'm like, hold up, I don't know, because to be honest, whenever someone comes into someone's homeland in a
Alicia
large
Hill.
amount,
Kyle.
obviously there's gonna be some pushback.
Everybody
And
liked the video.
back in Africa, is Pan-Africanism even a priority? Because I feel like for us in diaspora, we care more about it because we see the value and what it could do if we all were to unite. And then, we have African, a whole continent, but are Africans on the continent even worried about that? Because they're worried about their own country, their own issues, So.
And each country has such diverse cultures, economic situations.
And each country has their own version of Pan-Africanism. Like, for example, Ibrahim Traoré, the president, if you will, of Burkina Faso, he is he's called right over there a Pan-Africanist, but they have their own definition of it, because Pan-Africanism to him is how he get along with the neighboring countries. Mali, I forgot the other ones, but Mali, there's like 2-3 countries that they get along with. They're not really in cahoots with other African countries. Like, they got their own little 3-4 country thing they're doing over there, and that's it. Where they protect each other's borders. They're into like they got the little union with other countries, but like they would call that Pan-Africanism, right? But they're not extending an arm to Ghana and other countries in Africa at all. So again, like the definition is vague as hell as well.
And so is it even realistic for all Black people all over the world to unite and create this one, union?
Like Dr. Umar, or is it just a pipe dream?
Yeah.
And he's blowing smoke.
no Dr. Umar.
Yeah, we get more viewers, but we not getting more likes. Every time we get more viewers, they should know more likes to equal the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the Pan-Africanism, like
I'm with Dr. Umar.
spokesperson. So
I'm with Dr. Okay, so let's start with that. Why do you not resonate with Dr. Umar?
Well, number one, before I talk about Dr. Umar, let me say, like, we already let other countries come in. We already let the Westerners, and we already let the Asians, and we already let the South and North Asians in our country anyway. So why would we be mad at somebody that looked like us doing the same thing?
Well, first of all, you didn't let them in. They bought their way in. Okay, you didn't let them in. So stop. So I hate false equivalences. You didn't let them come in. They bought their way in there. Like, your country's up for sale, man. So stop.
Like, that's one thing I always say, that we should prioritize our people who are already displaced, just like they do in any other country.
Hey, no. We are not displaced, and we're not stopped that. Oh, and we're not gonna rewrite history, because people like this, these Pan-Africanist family, I gotta say this over and over and over. These Pan-Africanists and these tethers, they try to rewrite history. They like to tell you that the transatlantic slave trade was not a slave trade. It was a kidnapping. It was trafficking. White folks came and just kidnapped folks, and all the African countries were, just shocked. But they had nothing to do with it. They'll tell that lie. So we're not displaced. We were sold. The truth is, we were sold. Africans sold us to white people, and they didn't give a damn what happened to us. They didn't give a damn if all of us that was sold all died in the Atlantic, on as they're being colonized, as they're being enslaved. They didn't give a damn if the British, the French, and all those whoever else just said, man, hell with these fools. We just gonna kill them all. This ain't working. We'll do it ourselves. Africa, they didn't give a goddamn. Now all of a sudden, we all thrive and we're well alive. We got different identities, different ethnogenesis. Now all of a sudden, hey, can we all get along? No, you left us for dead, man.
So that's the number one thing. But outside of that, Dr. Umar, like, I respect Dr. Umar. I think he's really doing what he needs to do. But there's certain aspects.
Oh, Lex, I got you. Right now I'm like a little unstable. I'm down south, but I will be in Jersey. I will be in Jersey next month around this time, and I'll be more stable. I can give you a time, and But yeah, so Lex in the building. He had Lex Vortex. He got a book. I think it's FBA Codex. Lex, if you got it, put in the chat, and we're gonna do an interview on that. But right now I'm outside. My background's a little hectic, so I wouldn't be able to focus and give you be the best platform for that. So I will be in Jersey next month around this time, and I will have a more stable setting, more quiet, more indoor, more like a studio look. So if I could ask just for, and if I can, because right now it's a little difficult. It's really difficult to keep a quiet background. My son right here, I got more Jersey, and I got more family in Jersey, so they could watch him. I could have be more easier to do business, to get business done.
That I would choose.
But he has a book. I think it's called FBA Codex, something like that. He could tell you, put in the chat, and we're gonna do an interview on the book. But out here, like, there's nowhere for me to go with a quiet setting. Yeah. Okay.
That to be the perfect opinion of Pan-Africanism, because I think Pan-Africanism needs to include all of the people,
but
even
Emmanuel,
the people that we don't agree with.
With tribalism being so prevalent on the African continent and within our country, we have a lot of war going on within just South Sudan, even after we split with tribalism. Do you think that another whole group or other people coming in, like, obviously we're tribalistic within ourselves, would that be realistic if we're like, okay, Pan-Africanism, all Black people flood the...
All right, so again, family, go ahead and like the video. We're getting people coming in, but nobody's liking. Let me pause this right here. Let's get into the meat of what we're doing. Okay, so now this is the time. This is the New York Times. This date is right here. You guys can't see it, but this is 2004. Don't forget, the video is called Origins of FBA, Why It Got Started. So we're going before ADOS. We're going before FBA. Okay, we're going to how delineation started, the idea. So I played a video earlier of Tariq Nasheed kind of summing it up. He first said we start to second guess and start to question Pan-Africanism. right? We seen that as a one-way effort. So we dished it. And then that wasn't good enough because people are still undermining us. So we're like, yo, where is this coming from? So then we start to look at the term African American, like, wow, this is really inclusive to everybody else to tag along what we got going on and run with it. You to take the football and go home type energy. So we said, nah, that ain't it, right? Okay. So now we're going back. This is 2004. This is around the Obama administration. And yesterday I played Dr. Claude Anderson video, Paranomics that he did in 2001. So we're like really going back to the early 2000s. So when I say the origins of it, we're talking about early 2000, but even earlier than that, because the Nation of Islam, I'm gonna play a brother from the Nation of Islam that went in and he was on this delineation thing in the 90s. So because I'm a great researcher, I can really bring it back. And people do research also, so they could help me out and throw something in there. I don't know. But I did a good job by myself bringing it back, at least to the 90s. All right, where we start to question our Africanism. You dig? All right. So now this is 2004, New York Times. So white people writing this. They said top colleges take more blacks, but which ones? Okay. So remember, it says top colleges takes more blacks, which ones? So even white folks, even folks that got maybe Jewish background, they understood that all these blacks ain't the same. That's why he said which ones. If we're all black, why would it be which one? Okay, so Tone is going to go in on which one. Tone talks.
How's everybody doing today? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. I wanted to have a brief and healthy discussion about the new data that came out from Harvard, whether it's accurate, whether it's inaccurate, what it really reflects, and how we move forward productively to get real data that can affect all of our lives as African Americans. Harvard released their data that show that this is the most diverse class ever. The first class is not majority white. And one of the things that jumped out of the page was over 14% African American quote unquote admissions. Now, what I have as a fundamental problem is something that's been an issue at Harvard for quite some time. When you look at that data and you look at it in context.
Hold on. Let me stop right there. TE, do you want to call in? Hold on. TE, when you talk like that, you got to call in and we got to get you out of here. Okay, so TE, listen, you have to call in. It's not even like an option. TE, you got to call in or you got to get out of here. I got to get you going. All right. Yeah, let me find that phone number I put in the chat. I get it again. Yeah, TE, you can't talk like that in the chat and don't call in. So this is the pull-up show. This is the We Got All the Smoke for You show. You cannot talk like that and then hide your hand. Because I would never go to somebody's channel, right, and disagree in the chat. And when they put that link out there, be a coward and flee. I would never do that. I would call in, which I've done many times. Okay. I have a history of calling people chats. Calling people live and debating on the fly. All right. So I said, here's the ID. So TE, there is a shot clock, my boy or sister. It's 11:32. If TE does not call in by 11:34, we're going to race to be the fastest to block them. All right? Pinky peace. So if you say something, you should stand on it. You shouldn't flee. These guys got fleeing all in their DNA. Shit crazy. It ain't like we're in face-to-face, arguing. You're on the phone, bro. You just can hang up if you don't like where the convo is going. But you got to call in. You can't talk like that and then hide your hand and run. If you're standing on business, stand on business. I can explain your question. You said, what about white migrants? All right. Well, ask me. Call in. I could explain that for you. But I'm going to have questions back for you, though. it's quid pro quo over here. You got to give in order to receive. Okay. All right. He's can somebody block him real fast? He's out of here. He's a coward. Yeah, these dudes yo. I probably got one of the only podcasts where people are afraid to call in. They call in Jason Black. They call in Tariq. They call in everybody under the sun. They call in Yvette. They calling over here. They call there. I got one of the only well, I see why, because I demolished hundreds of people that called in, and they are archived on my in my videos archive for you all to see. It's public, for a sign for haters and trolls and tethers. What happens if you call in from trolling the chat? All right. Is anybody blocked T yet? Is he blocked? All right, let's finish. So remember, this is I'm playing Tone Talks because there was an article back in 2004. This is alongside of when Obama decided to run for presidency, right? So now, top colleges are taking more blacks, but which ones? So Tone Talks is going to speak to this. Some of you, obviously,
some of the more recent articles in the last 5 to 10 years. There's clearly a problem with that 14%. It's not a true 14%. What do I mean? This is in no way meant to be divisive. This is in no way meant to be an attack on any subgroup. I believe that all of these groups deserve a chance for admission into Harvard. That's what Dr. King fought for. This is more about a direct statement about what affirmative action was meant to do and the realities of what the cost of slavery and Jim Crow has left behind in millions of African American descendant of American slavery homes across this nation, and how that's being masked by taking groups that don't necessarily have those costs in their families and parading them around, as we see in this article. Part of what you see is not only were these people admitted, but they're paraded around to represent not just a more diverse Harvard, but an accomplishment by an America that hasn't happened, that we've overcome our past and our history, we're doing better now. When in fact, when you break out the data, we're doing far worse. When you look at incarceration, when you look at unemployment, when you look at everything, we're doing far worse. And the descendants of American slavery are actually bearing the brunt of that because they have not been repaired at all. What I want to read to you is a small section from the New York Times. It was in an article mid-2000s that came out that kind of lays out a data set that we can apply to this 14% to get a more realistic assessment of what this 14% actually truly represents if we were to apply the same data. So this is from the New York Times. So while about 8% or about 530, this is back in 04, 05, of Harvard's undergraduates were black, Lanny Guinier, a Harvard law professor, and Henry Louis Gates, the chairman of Harvard's more realistic African and African American Studies Department, this 14 pointed out that the majority of them, perhaps as many as 2/3, were. All
right, listen, family. I know we ain't got 50 haters in the chat because haters don't really watch this show. So we got 111 people watching, only 61 likes. Y'all making us look weak, like we don't support each other, like we're not on code. Hit that like button, show the strength of just likes. Hey, we rock each other. We're looking a little weak.
West Indian and African immigrants or their children,
we get support,
or to a lesser extent, children of biracial couples.
So
think about what we're saying here. We're saying if we applied that same 2/3 to this 14%, which wouldn't be unfair, what you end up with is nearly 9% of the 14. It's either people that are from the Caribbean, from Africa, in 1 or 2 generations back. And also,
so there you go. So obviously this is before the term ADOS, right? So it says real rate of Harvard. This would be ADOS, so FBA admission is below 5%. So our rate is below 5%. If you remove the new African, Caribbean, and biracial admits, right?
Have one white parent. Now, there's no greater lens than that for me other than both Obama and Kamala. President Obama, Senator Kamala. On one hand, you have President Obama, who is half white and half East African, Kenyan. As you know, almost all of African Americans that descend from slavery came from West Africa. That's like a world apart. President Obama, but yet he was paraded around as the first African American president and a representation of the progress Americans made. On the other hand, you have Senator Kamala, who is half Indian and half Jamaican, does not descend from American slavery at all, and again was raised Indian based on her statements from her auntie, which I'll pull up right now, that say that her mother basically grounded her, defined her as an Indian. And so my problem isn't just so much that these people exist in America. They should. The reality of them being presented as both black and African American,
right? That's
it basically undercuts the.
All right. So let me see. We got any more?
Initially,
so I'm showing you the origins, right? How it started. So we have to take it around. It's a little before, but the smoke really was around when Obama ran for president. Like that's when we start to question: are they black like us? Are they African American like us? Because there's no other term. Are they Negro like us? Which we knew that. We knew they were not Negroes. We knew they were not colored. But we was questioning: are they black like us? We're like, because we're like, how are they black like us? How are they African American like us? But how are they not Negro like us? How are they not colored like us? Because we thinking, hey, Negro, colored, African American, black, aren't these terms all interchangeable? So if one applied to you, shouldn't they all apply to you? So we start scratching our head like, wait a minute, if you're not a Negro, but you're black, if you're not colored, but you're African American, we don't think you like us. You dig? So it was around the Obama administration, Obama going running for president, is when we start to really question and think about, wow, they're really not like us, but they're taking on our identity names. So you'll see.
Was essentially for the lost progeny of slavery that didn't know what country they came from. You know, talking about over 50 countries.
What did he say?
One of the largest continents on the world, and essentially it doesn't really represent what. When you see the globe, Africa's much bigger than that. They had to do that.
Wait, Lee. Let me give you the phone number. You know, we want to be toxic today. You dig? This Sunday. Let's be a little toxic today. So yesterday was more about the information. We're gonna do that today also, but it was like just information only. Today, we don't mind y'all interrupting the show. We want to be a little spicy. So I'm letting all these folks have a chance to call in. There you go, Lee.
That shrink it down to fit on the globe.
And Lee has a shot clock. By 11:43, Lee doesn't call in. Somebody block him.
And I think that what's happened is that a term was kind of created that wasn't defined around slavery, but it was defined around the continent of Africa, but it was meant to surround slavery. And so now you have people coming here trafficking on that term when they don't have a connection to American slavery. And I think it's created a situation where even the little programs that were created, you know, we never had reparations, but affirmative action was clearly created by Lyndon Johnson to address or begin to address the major setbacks that slavery and Jim Crow costed millions of African American families. And you see groups coming in that don't have that cost in their family structure, bearing the brunt of the benefits of that program. Obama being no greater example. I mean, when you look at Obama, I can't help but use my own family, my own father as a great example. They're about the same age, yet my father came from Alabama. His family came from Alabama. And all kind of interesting dynamics of what comes from slavery in our background. Whereas when you look over at Obama, you have a picture-perfect kind of story, and not to mention grounded in whiteness, inherited $500,000 from his white grandmother, receiving all the benefits of white American privilege, but he represents this progress for Black America.
All right, Lee got one more minute. Oh, you got to go.
Not that he happened, but that he was presented as a progress for a group that never received reparations when he's grounded both in being white American and also being East African. That's not correcting slavery at all.
Get him up out of here.
And so for me, and to me, that's a disrespect to the reason that the program of affirmative action was created in the first place. And I think for a lot of us, what's happening is that African Americans are being shut out, particularly African American males. Because what I believe is if we, and one of my solutions that I'm going to have is we just need the data. I want to see the data from the prisons, and I want to see the data from Harvard.
Yeah, we want.
Because I believe once you get the data, what you'll see is we're overrepresented in prison, meaning descendant of slave, particularly African American males, and we're underrepresented in colleges. And
now that is a great point. Overrepresented in prisons and underrepresented in colleges, right? So they're like disrespecting us. They're trying to say, "Hey, y'all ain't do nothing but committing crimes, and you guys are not really in the, doing anything positive with yourselves."
And it's not just coming from ability; it's coming from the fact that America's masking it all. And so, like, coming back to the main theme of this, I want to pull up an article so you can see Jesse Jackson coined this term for African Americans.
Here we go.
Initially a term for the progeny of slavery.
See, it comes. Listen, we're on topic. It comes back to African American. So we tackle Pan-Africanism, and we're still tackling it because this is a panel right here. They're going to talk about Pan-Africanism. Is it helpful, beneficial? Is it one-sided? So we're on topic, and now Tone Talks brought it back to African American. Tariq Nasheed already explained it a minute ago. Now Tone Talks is going to delve into why Jesse Jackson came up with African American for us.
Because the continent is just so large, and we didn't know which country we come from. When you read about anyone that, like one David Owalu, actor that played Martin Luther King,
I'm gonna throw Makiba a wrench like the video.
He considers himself Nigerian American.
Thank you.
When you read about Issa Rae, creator of the show Insecure, she's Senegalese American.
Right.
When you read about all of these people, when you read about Kamala Harris, she's half Jamaican American. And so, like, what ends up happening is because we don't define African American around the true meaning, which was slavery, what ends up happening is that we shut out a whole group that needs to be recognized, and also is owed almost like a big chunk of the country's wealth. And I feel like what's starting to happen is, like, without understanding what Lyndon Johnson was saying, you have to go to Howard in the 60s, and you have to be there at that moment to understand how a hobbled group was supposed to be corrected and fixed through and by affirmative action along with additional programs. I want to cut in a piece of Lyndon Johnson. Presidents don't make statements at specific places on accident. So I'm going to cut this section in, let you listen to it, and then we'll come back.
But freedom
is
not
folks.
enough. You do not wipe away the scars of centuries.
That's Lyndon Baines Johnson, former president.
You are free to go where you want.
Who signed in the Civil Rights Act, 1964.
And choose the leaders you please. You
do
not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bringing up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others. And still justly believe that you have been completely fair.
Wow.
Thus, it is not enough just to open the gates of opportunity. All our citizens must have the ability to walk through those gates. And this is the next and the more profound stage of the battle.
Yeah, he was definitely a notorious racist.
So
100%.
Coming back, you see Lyndon Johnson saying this program is to correct a group that's hobbled.
Yeah.
This affirmative action. See, what happened is we moved it to diversity, and then inside of diversity, the major beneficiaries were white women, new immigrant Africans, Caribbeans, because what started to happen is that this slot that was kind of created to kind of correct things, and I would say lowered, it was allowed to be filled with people who had advantage and privilege that didn't deserve for it to be lowered. So if you're a white woman raised in a household with, and I'm bringing them in as well, if you're a white woman raised in a household with two parents just like your brother, I mean, you had no slavery in your background, no Jim Crow. You have the advantage of inheritance. Like if you're a new if you're a new African from a country, or say your parents immigrated here
Right.
less than a generation ago with professional degrees, not too much money. When you come here without slavery. You miss Jim Crow.
Right.
So this whole idea that the greatest cost of being African American is not getting a taxi or looking African American, it's a misnomer. Mm-hmm. It's a lie. The greatest cost of being African American is having slavery in your background and not getting no inheritance and coming from poverty and having a bunch of people that are just like you that are impoverished. And then in addition, not having language or a home country to ground you. That's not the cost that a person from the Caribbean bears. That's not the cost that somebody.
So you're reading African American because this is before ADOS, obviously.
From Africa bears.
You know why? Because I'm talking about the origins of ADOS. I'm showing you, not ADOS, FBA. When I say FBA, I'm talking about all of the new terms. There's like 3 terms. FBA the most popular, ADOS, then you got freedmen. So between these 3 terms, they're all used to describe a lineage. All right. So what I'm saying is I'm showing you guys the history of that idea, the idea to define your lineage. So that's what this video is about. So you're going to see ADOS, you might see freedmen, and you're going to see FBA, obviously. So yeah, so this is the origin. So you're going to see people talking before there was names for lineage.
Now, if you add in this other dynamic of people who have one white parent, say like Obama, what the problem with including them in the data for Black Americans is that the white parent masks the cost of slavery. What do I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have one white parent that is going to inherit money, and then you have a person that's from slavery on the other side, whether it's the father or the mother.
Hey, peace. Peace. Go to Brown. He said, and indigenous copper color people. Breeze Omega said, but ADOS is an organization. Okay, well you can't say that. See, if you say that, people could say, well, FBA is trademark. See, there's more to that. ADOS is a name of a lineage and it's a name, it's an organization, a name of organization. Just like FBA is a name of brands and services, and is also the name of a lineage, right? So people can name stuff, the name of, services and products all day long, but that don't mean that's the same as the lineage. Y'all gotta be careful when y'all say things. Right, ADOS is the name of a lineage, and it's also being used to be the name of an organization and maybe other services as well. So you guys kind of missed that live I did with Tariq Nasheed when he was explaining why he trademarked FBA. Go back and watch that live, and you won't say that about ADOS. Okay, you ate it all.
Your advantage still comes from being white. And so, like, for what ends up happening is, like, we don't get any data. What is the cost if you have 2 Black parents that come from slavery, let alone four grandparents, which I don't think is too far to go back. We see this with Native Americans. They do it now. It's only fair. We should at least get the data. We should get the data on people who have 4 grandparents that come from African American slavery. I believe the data will show that they're basically locked out of schools. They're filling up prisons. I believe the data will show that group is unemployed. I believe a large part.
Well, if you watched that live, you wouldn't have said that. So it's an organization and it's also a lineage. No, it's a lineage, but the name ADOS is being used to represent an organization as well. You could do the same thing with FBA, but Tariq doesn't want to. But it could be done. You could say, hey, or I can do it. You can do it, Breeze. You can say, hey, this is the FBA organization. But that don't mean it's the organization of FBAs. It's just the organization you created that you're using to like pay homage to the lineage. So any one of us could start a business, a construction business, say, hey, this is the FBA construction business, but it's not the FBA construction business. It's just your FBA construction business. You dig? So you don't want to get too crazy with that. Put that phone number out there. So yeah, you could put a name or something, but that doesn't mean you cannot own a lineage, bruh. It's illegal to own a lineage. You cannot own it. It's impossible in this country. You're not even allowed to. Tariq couldn't if you wanted to. You cannot own a lineage. So it's okay. ADOS is there. Freedmen is there. You got the American freedmen. They're there, bro. They're not going nowhere right now. ADOS is there. They're not going nowhere. FBA, we're here. We're not going nowhere. But we all have the same lineage. We all tie back. Well, not same lineage, but we all have a lineage that ties back to the same tree. So y'all guys trying to argue for no reason.
Part of the reason that group is being blanketed is because you have people that look like them that don't have their costs not allowing their problem.
Right. Hub. Let me give Hub a wrench. Hub, like the video. Lead by example. Cause my other family members are here and are not liking the video. All right. Look, how about this? How about this? How about this, Breeze? You want to know what I'm saying? Call in. I can't make it more plain. Then let's have a dialogue. All right. Let's have a dialogue. Put the phone number back in there. You got questions? Ask the questions directly. Let's talk directly. So we won't be because I'm playing the video. I'm reading other chats. I can't focus on too much at one time. So meeting ID. This is the pull-up show today. Anybody call in? Matter of fact, the phone number is for anybody. Anybody with a question, a comment, call in. God damn it. Everybody call in. But Breeze, you call in first. This is the pull-up show today. Tether, FBA, everybody call in. They put me in the hot seat.
Problems to come to the forefront. What do I mean? I mean, if people who have 4 grandparents are not getting into school because of the cost of slavery, and you have a group that doesn't have slavery in their background that looks just like them being paraded around.
And I know we don't have that.
When does that group?
Listen, I know we don't have that many haters and trolls in the chat. I know we don't. Most the 95% of us, because you know YouTube gives you the analytics, right? The analytics. YouTube gives you the analytics. Like most of the people who come here are all got wrenches. Y'all are subscribers. So it's not like tethers are in the chat or white supremacists and they're not liking. It's my family members who are not liking the video. Like the video, let's grow.
Group know that, meaning the group that came from slavery know that they have a major problem and it's not their fault.
Yes.
They don't. To create the division.
And before you call in and argue against FBA, before you call in and argue against Freedmen, before you call in and argue against ADOS, I advise you better have read those websites like I did, okay? Because you haven't read the ADOS website, you come here and challenge me, RIP. If you want to challenge FBA, have not read the website, RIP. If you want to challenge American Freedmen, have not read the website, RIP. I even read Cobra website. So you can't even challenge me on that. I read that too. All right. So yeah, y'all might want to do y'all thorough research before y'all have some crazy questions.
I'm here to point out natural differences and also to make a claim. My family, both sides, comes from a long legacy of slavery. You know, I come from West Africa. I understand that, but that's many generations ago in many, many countries. I am truly African American. And like what's starting to happen is that
right now we're dealing with the foundation.
You know, my claim is being diluted and people like me are being locked out of places like Harvard. So when is our voice heard?
Yeah, 89 likes.
And I feel like one of the solutions that I say that we can do is I just want the data.
Right.
Show me what, like Harvard and...
Well, if you ain't gonna like, then hit that Cash App and send $1 or $2 if you ain't gonna like the video.
And both Harvard and every penitentiary in this country should be forced to give us the data. How many of your African Americans have 4 grandparents that come from slavery? It's not hard.
Okay, yeah. So he just, so what Tone is simply doing, he's saying, Harvard, you are misrepresenting Black America. You're acting like you're giving Black Americans an opportunity, right? You're enlisting Black Americans in your school, right? Harvard and other prestigious schools, and that's not happening. You are enlisting immigrants who are calling themselves Black Americans or African Americans. So Tone is basically saying, hey, give us these Black people lineage, basically. Show their lineage. Stop lying. These guys are not who we call today ADOS or FBA. So I'm gonna leave. So this is over. That's what he's pretty much saying. Harvard is lying about the representation of FBAs in Harvard in the Harvard, college, institute, whatever. All right. So let's move on.
How's everybody doing today? We got a good show coming on today. This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks.
So now this is called, was Obama the first African American president or a political poser? All right. So the reason why I'm doing this, because I got a video, this live is called The Origins of FBA. So we know ADOS was before FBA, and we know and Cobra was before, you know what I mean? So this is the origins. So now, but I'm also, because there's something in quotations. It says why it got started. And it got started really, it kicked off once Obama ran for presidency, because we start to say, hey, he's not really the first black president. He's the first African president or the first African American president. He's not the first black president. He ain't black, right? But then they start to say he's black. So we're like, oh, okay. Then he ain't black like us. You dig? If he's black, he ain't black like us. Matter of fact, we're FBA. Is he FBA? What does that mean? He can tie his lineage to slavery. No. Okay, so he ain't the first nothing of us, right? Okay, we cool. Let's move on. So that's pretty much where this was going. So just a real quick.
Yvette Carnell from Breaking
You'll hear them speak about it in real time. This is 8 years ago.
And we're here to have a great discussion about one of your favorites, Mr. Obama. And
yeah, Pan Nigerian.
Discussion about whether
listen,
Obama...
let Pan Nigerian troll. Don't time him out. Let him just troll. He had 2 chances to call in. He called in twice. The first time we just talked about random things, he was all over the place. The second time we specifically had a topic. It was about Marcus Garvey, and he knew nothing about Marcus Garvey. This is a Pan-Africanist who don't know about his leader. You dig? So it was like pointless. And then he doesn't listen. He has all these questions. He never stopped talking. He's one of those guys. You're like, yo, pop a perk, my boy. Take some Ritalin. Pop a Addy. Slow down, my boy. Drink up some Hennessy, something. Slow down, dude. Ask the question and shut up. I'm gonna give the answer. Reply to the answer or concede. That's it. But don't just ask another question. Was I right or wrong when I replied to your question? So Pan-Nigerian, he's not like us in every sense. He's not sane. He's insane because he can't have a conversation. A conversation is when you both communicate, one talk, one shut up, the other one talk, the other one, you know what I mean? He can't do that. He's talking. He's not proving he can comprehend what I'm saying. It's like I keep repeating. Then I got to be like Dr. Khalid Muhammad on the Phil Donahue show. Like, okay, I'll say it one more time and one more time only. When Phil Donahue pressed him about put up the scope, the Pope's skirt. He said, I said one more time and one more time only. He got all serious. So Pan Nigerian, dude, thank you for calling in twice. You gave us great content to laugh at. But dude, we feel sorry for you. You dig?
Obama was the first African American president. We're going to critique the big piece by Ta-Nehisi Coates that's on the cover.
So he says, is Trump and his wife Tethers? Let me ask you, are they? What do you think? Why are you asking us? What do you think? You're a Tether. Don't Tethers flock together? Okay, so you tell us. You would best know. So Pan Nigeria, we're going to ask you the question because you're a Tether. Are Trump and his wife Tethers? You tell us. Tethers know each other.
Of the Atlantic, my president was black, and we're also going to look at Sandy Darity in my piece. Sandy Darity had a piece in the Atlantic, basically chastising Obama about his policies, and I had one in Newsmax doing the same. And I look forward to a positive and productive discussion.
All right, let's get to it.
Brown family, hello, and about Obama discussion. So I'm just looking forward to the conversation.
Out on Newsmax.
All right, let's get to
connection to Africa. And
okay, there we go.
Things, one of those being his own personal ancestry and connection to Africa, and how that relates to ours, being descendants of slaves from West Africa.
All right, listen.
What I wanted to start off with is really kind of looking at that. Obama comes from Kenya, and I'm gonna pull a map up right now. Before I even say where Obama comes from, you have to understand that Africa, the way it's painted on the globe,
before
it doesn't
FBA,
necessarily match how
ADOS.
big it actually is. Africa, it has to be shrunk down so it can actually fit on the globe. Represents 10 to 15% of the overall landmass of the.
All right. Oh shit.
He primarily came.
All right. So you say you've been calling in, right, to no avail. I got you. I got something better because I didn't hear the thing ring. But I got something better for you. Oh shit. Where is the chat? What did I just do? All right, hold on. I got something better for you, Breeze. a better way to connect, because I damn sure didn't you didn't call in, but fine. And we still need 30 more likes. I don't know why the likes are lagging. Here you go. This is for Breeze only. Mickey, now you can't miss this. So I gave the Zoom link, which I never do. I give folks the phone number. So because you said you tried to call in no avail, well, you can't miss this one. Click that and let's get in. Let's get it.
From West Africa. You know, I did my ancestry.com. Nothing came out of anywhere other than the Congo, Benin. That's pretty much.
All right, let's look at it. All right, so look, this Tone Talks, because they want to make everybody African. So we got Benin, Togo, 31%. We got Cameroon. My screen is so. Okay. Cameroon, Congo, 20%. Senegal, 12%. Mali, 8%. Nigeria, 5%. All right, so yeah. Europe, 14%. Asia, 2%. America, 1%. So now this is their problem, family. What quote unquote African DNA looks like this? That's all over the place. None of them. When they do a DNA test, it's going to be all Nigerian if they're Nigerian. If they're Ethiopian, all Ethiopian, all Ethiopia. This is how all of ours look. That's in the diaspora, but definitely in America. This is how our stuff looks. It's all over the place. 20%, 30%, 10%, 5%. Africans don't look like this. Their things say 90% or 99% something and nothing else. So we're not the same in no way, shape, form, even genetically and DNA wise. We're not the same. We're looking at different things when we do DNA tests.
Much it. I mean, it's like Nigeria. I had a little bit. It's all West African countries. Obama.
What is Bree saying? It's Zoom as well. Yeah, okay, it's Zoom. Call in. Clear TV streams. I forget that woman's name in the screenshot, but basically she's like the female version of Rolling Martin, and she goes off on tangents all the time.
On the other hand, is from, and I'm gonna put an arrow, East Africa. He descends from Kenya. Kenya has very little, if nominal, contact with the American slave trade, let alone the transatlantic slave trade, because they took their slaves from West Africa.
Hey, Pan-Nigerian, here's the thing that's different than me and you. Okay. I don't know a Spanish person with the last name Harrison. Okay. I put my Facebook stuff on the wall. I mean on the live. Right. I got my DNA results. You did. I got mine. You don't have yours. Okay. So somebody can say what they want to say. What they can't do is prove nothing. All right. All right. My mom and my dad are not Spanish. My grandparents on both of their sides, nobody's Spanish. My father's side, my grandmother is like, she's some type of Indian. I don't know exactly what she is. I don't know if they did DNA tests. I couldn't even tell you. But she's some type of, I don't know if she's full Indian or mixed, but she's something like that. This topic wasn't going on when I was growing up, so I ain't even. But I'm sure my aunts, uncle probably know. But somebody can say what they want to say. I'm just an American, right? I'm a Black Foundation American, and that's it, man. And we are dark skin, brown skin, and light skin. I'm light skin. All right.
Africa. And
now show me a light skinned Nigerian.
Get Yvette's analysis on whether that has any effect on his ability to connect to this whole larger diaspora argument of the transatlantic slave trade.
Well, I said a long time ago that Obama's problem is that he's not African American.
I want y'all to keep up with the show. So you heard Yvette Carnell say he's not African American. So the person that was here earlier who said we should have gate kept the term African American and didn't give the tethers, as you can see, it was being done. So family, what the person said in the chat, they spoke too soon. That's why I say watch the whole show, because a lot of y'all questions will be answered. Hey man, we should have gate kept the term African American, shouldn't have gave it to tethers. I said, hey, that's interesting. But look at Yvette. Yvette just said an article. This is back in the day. She said Obama is not African American. So we were saying that these tethers were not African American. And guess what? We were also gatekeeping the word Black from them. I'm gonna have that next. DJ Focus know all about that. His dad was saying that way before Obama was here. And when Obama was going for president, DJ Focus' dad was like, he's not black. And the whole barbershop was confused. Like, what you mean black? He would explain. He would explain. I wish we had that recorded, man. He would explain that he had no slave ties. This is like, of course, the time of Obama. But he was saying this because that is a Nation of Islam. He's Nation of Islam minister. DJ Focus, their background. Like that's their their father, first generation. They, I mean, all his father went to the University of Islam. They really into that Nation of Islam stuff. But they knew Dr. Khalid Muhammad like firsthand. But anyway, and they got pictures with Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But the thing is, the Nation of Islam stance has always been, we're not African, not like them. That's always been their stance, and they're not black. So when Obama and immigrants came over, black ones, as far as the Nation of Islam perspective, they were never confused on if they were black or African American. Their answer was always no. And they would explain why. And they would say because of the experience, the black experience, and because of which is basically slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, everything else, all in one. Civil War fighting and
I got
civil rights
roasted for it because I said it in probably I think it was like 2012.
One more time.
Well, I said a long time ago that Obama's problem is that he's not African American.
Okay, I'm stop right there. I'm gonna move on. Okay, so this is for Kwame when he calls in. So this this is Tariq. What he say right here?
Apologetically, all across the board. In film, our good brother Ryan Coogler. In R&B and country, our good Queen Mother Beyonce. Embracing her foundational Black American culture. Our great mother, even in hip hop.
Wait,
Kendrick.
Hold on, let me make sure I didn't replay this. No, I did. I played something else. All right, cool.
Lamar, embracing his foundational Black American culture. The song "They Not Like Us." That's a foundational Black American. Embracing his foundational Black American culture. The song "They Not Like Us." That's a foundational Black American anthem, ladies and gentlemen.
And that was deep as hell because I never seen it like that. Even though it was low key. He said Kendrick Lamar's song "They Not Like Us" is basically a foundational Black American anthem. I'm like, wow, that was deep as hell. Because even though we sung it and danced to it like it was, we never officially said it. So Tariq is like, that's our anthem. I'm like, you know what? Damn. Yeah, he's right.
It just went diamond, by the way. Shout out to our brother Kendrick. Round of applause for Kendrick. The biggest diss record in rap history. That is the biggest diss record in rap history. The first diss record to win a Grammy or multiple Grammys. Did it win multiple? But listen, we, millions of foundational Black Americans, are delineating, and not to harm anybody. We're just recognizing our unique ethnogenesis. We're recognizing it and respecting it. And we're calling out, ladies and gentlemen, all the disrespect that's been happening for so long. And what we're seeing now, see, the Tethers tried to play this game where they tried to downplay the momentum of the delineation movement. They tried to lie to themselves. Oh, this sheet is only on Twitter. This is some Twitter sheet. It's only on the internet. No, that's you lying to yourself. Now, people see that foundational Black Americans are not allowing ourselves to be generic Africans only to be exploited by all of these other groups. We're not letting that happen no more. Those days are over. Smack a cracker, whatever your name is. Those days are over. You know it. That's why you're salty. You're calling here, babbling and talking in circles. Those days are over. You're not leeching off us no more. Everybody's going to have to pull their weight. Everybody's going to have to hold their own nuts. When weird stuff happens, we say, hey, wait a minute, that dude, he ain't us. That's, don't put him on us. Don't know. We're not to blame for that. His last name is foreign. That ain't us. We're distancing ourselves from riffraff behavior. With this Ebony thing, you have people by the droves criticizing Ebony for the tethering of the Essence, not Ebony, but Essence, I'm in Essence, the tethering of the Essence Fest and how they basically culturally vandalized it to a certain degree. Everybody's calling that out. So the Tethers are getting real nervous. They're getting very, very nervous. They start trying to blame me. But listen, let me tell you something. I don't blame me. I was just one of the first to point all of those shenanigans out because I saw it decades ago. Instead of them taking responsibility for their damn anti-FBA shenanigans that they've been having going on for the past decades, they want to sit up and try to point the finger and blame me. And the government.
I told you that's why I want to play Tone. I want to play Dr. Claude Anderson. I want to play Deborah Dickinson. I want to play as many people possible, Yvette, because they try to act like Tariq's crazy. It's all about him. He's a cult leader and he got these cult members. They want to minimize everything. So that's why it's great to play other people like Phil Scott, like urban politicians, like Ryan Coogler. It's great to reference these people and show like, nah, this is bigger than Tariq. You dig? This is bigger. This ain't about Tariq. This is bigger. It's bigger than him. And that's why I do what I do. I show no other people saying this. And guess what? They don't even get along. Well, we know for a fact Tony Yvette don't even get along, Tariq, but they're saying the same thing. They're validating what he's saying. They're confirming what he's saying. They're corroborating what he's saying. They might disagree with each other personally, but talking points, they're on the same code. So, like Tariq just said, they're going to try to make it about him. And that's why it's important for them to make him the leader. If I make him the leader, and if I tear him down, then I tear everybody down. Like they did that with buck breaking, right? The strongest man, they would make him the representative of everybody else. They'll beat him to a pulp into submission, and that's the way to make everybody else submit. So they're trying to buck break Tariq, and they think by buck breaking him, it'll buck break us. And we ain't doing that because he's not our buck breaking leader. He's not our buck leader. Ain't no leader. We're all bucks.
Got you niggas hitting us and set up. No. People are calling out your exploitive, disrespectful actions.
The raw truth about everything. He says, wait, I can't talk about Tariq. He says every FBA have more European admixture on average, about quarter of DNA, our Native American DNA is very small according to DNA testing. And just by that, we ain't like them at all because none of them got that type of DNA admixture, none of them. Just like, so stop faking this, we all the same, like stop. DL says the evidence of Black indigenous in America is overwhelming. The reclassification of indigenous during slavery is documented. Kindred, Jack, peace. It's appreciated greatly if you would hit the like. Yeah, hit the like. But listen, I'm looking at 127 watching and 91 likes. So we are 30 likes away. We stayed 30 likes. So there's 30 people who just said, I ain't like it. Today, and they're FBA. They're Adolf, they're Freeman. But for some reason, they're mad at me today and they ain't pressing like. Maybe they mad I'm playing Yvette, Tone Talks. Maybe I'm mad I don't know. But maybe they mad I don't know. But they're like, I ain't liking it. I'll watch it, but I ain't liking it.
On social media, these people really got that anti-Black American vibe going. Really online. You started to see it online heavily around 2012, right around that time. Yeah, they've always, a lot of them always did it a little secretly. They had this contempt. They would have all these little conversations with each other, stay away from the Akata. They would say this at home and in private. We didn't know about it. But when social media started popping, especially Twitter in particular, because that's when people could really just tweet whatever random thoughts you had. Yeah. Whereas, social media like MySpace, it wasn't quite the same, but with Twitter, you can just tweet out any random thought very quickly. And you can interact with people more fluently, and you can get more comfortable within your circles on Twitter. So around that time, 2012, right when Obama was in office, right when some of the grassroots uprising started.
See now, you seen Yvette and Tone Talks. They talk about Obama, right? You see Tariq's, because the origins, they're going to go back to Obama. Again, it's before Obama, but it didn't kick off until Obama. The idea to name a lineage did not kick off until Obama ran for president. So if y'all hate FBA, y'all hate Adolf, y'all hate Freeman, y'all hate delineation, then y'all hate Obama and the Kenyans. You dig? It's their fault. Because this idea happened when he came in office. So you keep seeing everybody keep referring back to Obama. One more time, if y'all missed it.
2012, right when Obama was in office, right when some of the grassroots uprising started to happen, right after Trayvon Martin and all that, we start seeing the tether class on social media denigrating us. A lot of folks weren't catching it because they would use little words like Akata, and a lot at the time.
Now look, so Tariq brought you back to 2012. What is he doing? He's going back. He's going back to the origins. He's explaining why it got started. Okay, so he brought you back to 2012. Why? And he said tethers were on high alert. They were very aggressive.
Grading us. A lot of folks weren't catching it because they would use little words like Akata, and at the time, a lot of FBAs just didn't know what that meant. But yeah, we were watching these folks.
Right.
And see the rise of the grassroots movement around 2012, when we were fighting against police brutality. Then they
Jazzy,
rebranded that
peace.
Black Lives
Do me
Matter.
a
See,
favor,
that gang went
Jazzy.
to
Just like,
2012,
just
2013,
wait.
and a lot of African and Caribbean immigrants.
Just like the video, please.
They
I'm gonna give you a wrench, Jazzy.
they felt a lot of pressure to kind of distance themselves from what they perceived as the loud, radical, overly aggressive black activist. You see, so we're fighting in the streets trying to confront these race soldiers, and these tethers, they wanted proximity to whiteness, so they would be on the back end, like, oh yeah, you see that Negro over there with the Molotov cocktail? That ain't me now. I'm not like that nigga. They'd be behind the scenes making little deals, like, oh, I'm not like him. I'm not gonna give you no trouble like that. You feel me? We saw them. I mean, we saw them in real time, and then all of a sudden, we start getting these weirdos that didn't nobody know pop up as the spokespersons. Like, yes, my name is such and such, and I'm part of Black Lives Matter, Cleveland, and I say trans lives matter too, and immigrants matter. I'm like, huh? What the hell? We start seeing all that weird stuff, and then the organization Black Lives Matter, who they get? They got some tethers, some of these non-FBA women as the leaders, but nobody knew them. We don't know them. We're like, who are they?
By Obama.
Nobody knew these people. We're telling you how this stuff started to play out. So they knew, these folks knew that they were going to make a little side deal with the white supremacists while we were out there in the streets turning up. They were in the back channel making little deals like, yeah, we'll get out there and we'll be the spokespersons for these folks. You elevate us, we'll be the mouthpiece, and then we're going to redirect all of the energy. So if a black person gets killed, we're going to show up to the protest twerking and then talking about immigration. We start seeing this stuff in real time. And then when they get on social media, some of these folks, they would talk greasy about Foundation of Black Americans. They talk real greasy about us. Man, y'all go back and look at some of them tweets from like 2012 to around 2018. Boy, Akata, we were all types of Akatas. These people were so comfortable talking greasy about us. They were very comfortable talking greasy about us. And we up here on some, yeah, we got to fight for our brothers and sisters. We on some, yes, we all got to get together. We're saying so that, but they online calling us all types of Akatas and Jareers and Yanks and just everything.
Thank you for liking the video. Now, so 12 out of 30 liked the video. That was being stubborn. We just need 18 more likes, and we are one family. We are standing strong.
Yeah, and they benefited from FBA sacrifice while mocking the fighters. While we were on the front line taking risks, getting attacked, some people getting killed. My good brother Darren Seal, rest in peace. The ops killed our brother, man. I mean, we had folks losing their lives out here. Yeah, I'm being targeted with all types of shit. We out here risking our damn lives. And then we see these immigrant groups reaping the benefits of it. Yeah, we start all of a sudden we're like talking about police reform, and they start like, yes, diversity and minority funding for immigration. And what? Hold on, I ain't risking my life for no damn immigration. Now, what's this shit? That's when I'm like, I got real sensitive to it because I didn't like none of that shit they were doing back then. Because then I'm becoming a target at that time. Man, I was hell on these race soldiers. I'm up here banging on the damn police chief, the prosecutors, making them release people out of jail, getting people out of custody, getting people's charges dropped. We were banging on these folks. And then we were getting targets put on our backs for doing that. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing folks hugging killer cops and all that. Hey, man, what the fuck is this shit? I said, hold on, man. Hold on. Especially with that Botham Jean thing. They family up there hugging the woman all in court. I said, man, hold on, man. Hold on. And remember, with Botham Jean's family, it was us on the grassroots stomping to get that woman prosecuted. When we were on that woman's bumper, her family, we were putting all that stuff on Front Street. She got convicted.
All right, now we just 9 likes out. 9 likes.
They got some money and then put together some kind of scholarship for Caribbeans. I said, what? Come on, y'all remember that? Come on, let's no. Y'all not gonna sit here and point the finger at me.
Look. Tariq is telling you how it started. He's bringing you up to speed. He's summarizing everything. Listen.
Tariq made you niggas hit us. We're all supposed to be together, man.
Tariq made you. Yeah, they all say this. Like, yo, you do know Yvette and Tone Talks were saying the same thing, right? And I'm gonna show you a video that there was people 15 years ahead of Tariq Nasheed and Yvette Carnell. It's like, yo, so now what? It didn't start with them. They just took it to another level.
The minute y'all get something after we didn't help you get it, yeah, okay, this is gonna be for Caribbeans now. What? Little stuff like that, man, had me raising my antenna like, hey, man, hold on now. Wait a minute. No, we ain't about to be no damn fool out here. We're gonna have to get some straightening. You know? We're gonna have to start getting some damn straightening and see who the hell is who out here. Because there's just too much funny style stuff going on with these weirdos that don't nobody know. Every time we out here stomping, these weirdos out here doing some strange stuff against us. You know? They start turning the Black Lives Matter thing into some immigration agenda. You know? They were real big on that.
Mental
Then they started
GP.
pushing the LGBT stuff. Black lives matter won't matter until black trans lives matter too. Like, what? All right, everybody black.
Hey, mental, they can't realize it because they are delusional. Okay, once they come to terms that Tariq's not a leader, neither is Yvette Tone, that's when they just gonna, all hell's gonna break out. They're just gonna crash out because now they know they can't stop us. So they gotta make him our leader because they stop him, they stop us.
Matters. We're not differentiating between anything. But they did that. Well, the black trans lives matter, so we got to give some money to some LGBT
That's
groups.
called delineating.
So they were using that to fund money.
Yeah, that's a fact though. When they said, what about trans life? What about trans lives? Trans lives matter too. That's called drawing a line. You're separating yourself from the BLM movement.
To these white LGBT organizations. So that was a finesse too. You understand? They were doing all this weird ass stuff, man. And then they started getting these tether women who masked themselves as feminists so they could attack foundational black American men. Y'all remember Fraudinista Jones, Jamila Lemieux, and all of them from Ebony. They would write all of this anti-black FBA male stuff, and they all come from tether backgrounds. They're not FBA. And they were running around here talking about street harassment. They were working with white feminist groups. Yeah, come on, y'all don't remember this stuff. I remember because I'm up there in the trenches. These tether women.
As acts, if you was to read the title, it says the video is called "The Origins of FBA," right, and why it got started. So FBA is a popular re-identification term for Black Americans who could tie their lineage to slavery. Yes. Okay, you get the daddy stick. Okay, so we're explaining the origins of it, why, the origin, how it came, how it was put together, and why, right? Why did Black Americans feel like they need to call themselves something separate from other Blacks? Now, this ain't a new thing because Jamaicans call themselves Jamaicans, and that's a term that identifies them, that separates them from every Black in the world. All right, Nigerians call themselves Nigerians. That separate them from every Black in the world. So we were the only Blacks in the world without a term that was exclusive. When we had so-called exclusive terms, they became inclusive. For example, they were talking about Obama. He's the first Black president, but I thought we were the only exclusive Blacks in the world, you see? So now Obama is Black, and he's from Kenyans. That means Kenyans are Black. So that's no longer an exclusive term, it's inclusive. So we thought African American was an all exclusive term. And then Obama is also African American. So we see that the terms that were given to us were not exclusive at all, they were inclusive. So we came up with an all out exclusive term that nobody can co opt because you have to show paperwork. You just can't say I'm this. You need to show paperwork that you are that. So we need receipts. And that is Foundation Black American, right? And we're explaining how it came to be and why it came to be, why it's so necessary. Because so many Black immigrants and immigrants in general are upset at this movie, big chess move we made. And I'm explaining why, well, we all are watching why it came to be, and I'm giving commentary and explaining on top of that.
Men running around here talking about they're feminists. They were working with white feminist groups to try to pass laws to replace stop and frisk because stop and frisk was unconstitutional. So the white feminists, they were going to help out there in these liberal cities. They were going to.
So David Benjamin says, Google Leamington Black Cemetery, Bedminster, New Jersey. Trump's golf course has nearly 100 FBAs, my ancestor included, and he knows about it. All right, let me take a look at that. I'm a researcher. And researchers don't like to be out of the loop. All right. So now, so let Tariq finish cooking, and believe me, family, we're done.
Help the police come up with ways to target Black folks, Black men in particular, with new laws. So you're not going to do stop and frisk, but you can do street harassment. That was the play they were going to go for.
I'm gonna give you a wrench.
They were going to try to criminalize men speaking to women. Do y'all remember that? Some of y'all might not remember that. Dude,
wrench just signified that you are a friend of the channel. You dig? And if you got a link or something you want to put in there, promote, or even want us to read or check out, you can just put the link in there. You can't put a link in anybody's chat, any live video chat without a wrench. That's anybody's
archives.
live chat.
They have this thing like "You okay, sis?" and all that. That's what Tarana Burke and those guys. That's what it kind of morphed into Me Too when they had another Caribbean, Tarana Burke, as the face of that, as they attack black men. You understand? Tarana
Oh,
Burke
you're welcome.
is Caribbean. Y'all, family, it's been a play. We've been pointing this shit out. We started seeing a pattern here.
Pinky.
All of these weirdos working with these white supremacist suspects to get these laws out here that
Yeah,
target.
I gave Pinky her flowers yesterday. I said, yeah, I've been reading her comments, watching her comments, and she know a lot about a lot. So I'm like, okay, she's a little deep. Maybe one day call in and share.
Get us. It was always these non-FBAs. We started putting two and two together. We're like, hey man, there's a common thread here. These people come from different cultures and they sit up here and project a lot of weird stuff onto us so that we can be targeted. Yeah, these strong donkey face mammy tether women who are claiming to be feminists, we're out here talking about, yeah, in places like New York, black men be harassing us on the streets. And I knew something was up there. And I was like, who? I know who
Yeah.
harassing you?
Hey, Lord Maul, I was just talking about street harassment to my boy. Like, I got a friend about 40-something years old, and he's still cold walking up on women, asking them for their phone number. And he's calling me, venting, being upset that he's not getting a reaction. These women are actually upset. And like, they felt harassed when he does that. So I'm like, dude, where you been at? Like, you never heard of street harassment? Like, dude, I said, yo, everybody's online to like women. Yo, we're in 2025, my boy. We're not in 1990. We're in 2025. Women today are not used to men just walking up on them asking for their phone number. The women are used to dating apps. People hollering at them in their Twitter, in their IG, whatever. Thing. I said, that's how you gotta holler at these women. Unless they just if they're not showing clear interest, you might want to leave them alone. You dig? Because that asking for a phone number, it seems like it's innocent, but all she got to do is contact the authorities. And even though if you don't get arrested or ticketed, bro, who wants to be pulled over and harassed? Look, you street harass her, the police officers street harassed you. You dig? I'm good.
I know ain't nobody from our culture harassing you, and I'm not even being mean. I'm like, oh, it must be some foreigners or something doing that. I knew something was up. That's when I started saying, hey, wait a minute, we're gonna have to start looking into the lineage of people here.
Public, yeah, right.
Because I ain't no spokesperson for nobody, but I can speak for foundational Black American men on one point.
If she panic and start acting a
trying
fool,
to sexually harass no Tarana Burke. I think I'm safe to say that. I don't want to put words in everybody's mouth, brothers. Now, some of y'all might have a donkey fetish. I don't know. So I can't speak for that. But generally, ain't no FBA brothers trying to get at that or sexually harass that. You understand? So we started to see these patterns, and we started to see that a lot of these immigrants, they made this little unspoken deal.
All right, so listen, he's breaking down why it was necessary to delineate, disaggregate, draw a line. Wait. Yeah, to secede from the fake union we thought we had. Because they always act like we had this, you were all in it together. We were together at one point. Okay, so this fake false togetherness, we're going to secede from it. All right. Well, we already did. We're seceding from it. We seceded from it. So Tariq Nasheed is just explaining how it all came together. He's giving you his personal experience, because remember, he used to preach global empowerment, where he was trying to get all blacks around the world on code to fight against global white supremacy. And in doing that, he's witnessing and experiencing these things. Listen.
The politicians to kind of act as a replacement. Around 2015, there was a growing unspoken agreement between these African and Caribbean immigrant communities and the liberal political operatives that foundational Black Americans, we'd be culturally and politically replaced by a more compliant class of Black immigrants. And they would choose them for media appearances, nonprofit positions, all of that stuff. So that's why we could never get stuff done in the community. We doing all this stumping and riding, and the resources were like, where the hell are the resources? It's going to these immigrant groups and DACA programs and all of this stuff. Like, what the hell? So the name of the game was to reframe what it meant to be Black in America without centering us in it, the native foundational Black Americans, without us being centered in it. They were actively, y'all would better understand, they kept trying to redefine what Blackness meant. Like with Obama. This was on Obama was in office, remember? Obama was in office. They're trying to rise up Kamala Harris. So we start seeing this stuff. And at the time, we started seeing the rise of this alternative media, like Boss Shade Room, Media Takeout, all of these entities, World Star, that would show extremely negative images of foundational Black Americans. They were all run by non-FBAs. At the time, nobody was putting two and two together. I started putting two and two together. I'm like, wait a minute. And I always say this. What made me put two and two together, these blogs, Madame Noir, that was another one. These blogs would talk about Black society
Capricorn FBA
from a hood degenerate perspective, but I would always see these glowing stories about Africa on these sites.
So look, all these sites are supposed to be Black, right? Are bigging up Africa, right? Disrespecting Black America, but bigging up Africa. Listen.
They mentioned Africa, it was always a beautiful, expensive African wedding. Some African kid just got a scholarship.
So every time they spoke of Africa, it's always like Wakanda. Watch this.
At 3 universities, it would be glowing. They would just make glowing posts about Africa.
Same day.
I said, wait a minute, who are these people? I started asking questions. I started putting two and two together.
You see?
And what really...
All right, let me read to Marka. She said, I'm 50 years old and Gen X. And let me tell y'all, this hate for us was being taught when I was a little girl. And in all this time, it hasn't changed. That's wild. Damn. That long ago. And we thinking it was started maybe somewhere in the 2000s. Damn.
It made me say, hey, something is up. These folks, we have the #1 movie in the world. We had like 5 #1 movies, Hidden Colors 1 through 5. That changed the game.
M.D. Williams.
As you all know, we all know by now, the Hidden Color series, classic, literally changed the game. That literally brought in the woke movement. That influenced so many things. Hidden Colors was the game changer. Huge movie. We were selling out movie theaters literally all over the world. Some of y'all who went to the screenings, y'all saw. It was lines around the corner all over the country with those films. Independent, killing the game. That shit, they were all over the place. The DVDs were all over the place in barbershops, hair salons, schools. Still are. They're still now in schools and everything.
Indeed. Said, I'm 56. They got
none
work.
Of those Black, quote unquote, media outlets like Gossip, Shade Room, they wouldn't promote it at all. They would never promote it. They would never talk about it. Even though you're supposed to be a Black media outlet, the hottest Black film about Black history is killing the game. They're not talking about it. And when they did talk about it, they were denigrating it. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? The Root, Madame Noir, they would denigrate the Hidden Color series. They called it Hotep shit. They were denigrating.
Yeah, I remember that. They called them Hotepers.
And then trying to denigrate me and all of that stuff. Well, we're doing something constructive and you're denigrating it? So what's going on with that? So we started putting two and two together. And then we started to see that a lot of these people, these so-called Black media outlets, they were basically controlled by the DNC. They were basically satellites of the DNC. And the DNC, they need a dumb...
what is POC? POC? Ricardo Flott said Obama started that POC. Never used that term. I was cool with Black and found out Obama hated the term Black, as most Africans do. The raw truth about everything said, Africa itself is very diverse with different tribes that aren't all the same people, but Africans and Pan-Africans have a problem with FBA. Yeah, no. Listen, Pan-Africanists they tend to be lying, but Pan-Africans are probably the most delusional of all the Blacks. Tethers are the biggest liars of all the Blacks. But Pan-Africanists and Afrocentrics are probably the most delusional and deceptive of all.
Because Black
Tether is not going to revise history, but Pan-Africanists and Afrocentrics try to.
Constituency. They need you Black, dumb, and sleep. You understand? They need you dumb. They need you listening to...
Armageddon says NYC is the headquarters for African and Caribbean immigrants. Cosplaying FBA. Armageddon, I'm going to throw you a wrench. All I ask for in return is to like the video. Stay up there. Hey. Stay right there. You can jump.
Hood stuff. They need you sitting up watching fight videos all day. They need you dumb and sleep. So all they got to do is come through.
All right. So my son was playing with this little girl that's next door. They Caribbean, right? They're not Jamaican. They're Caribbean. She's 4. I got videos. He's 3. They was like getting along very, very, very well, like best friends. And all of a sudden, they shielded themselves away from him. like, because they used to be in the garage, right? And he'll go and play with them. They have it open. They do see their business there, and they'll come out the garage, come by me, whatever. Like, y'all heard them all the time in the background. But for some reason, okay, so let me say this: their house is packed. So when Terry talks about, I'm talking local. I don't want to hear me. So when he talks about they be in a house, all that income GDP, he's correct. They're like 8, 9 adults in a house. 8, 9 adults. There's only 2 kids, 16 and a 10-year-old. That's not a baby. So like 8, 9 adult, and I don't know what happened, but somebody said something, obviously, and they've been like hiding her away from him. So in the background, when I say no, because he hear her, he's trying to go over there. I'm like, no. You know, don't. If she want to come play, she's gonna come over here. We're not gonna go. We don't know what they're doing. Why they start to like disassociate? Now look, they delineated. Who's mad? For no reason, like no drama, nothing. And they drew a line to hell with those FBAs. So some weird, goofy shit.
With some catfish nuggets, and your dumb ass gets out there and vote. If you are awakened, if you are smart, if your brain has been energized by the Hidden Colors film, now you're going to ask questions before you vote, and they don't want that. That's why they were denigrating it, and that's why they denigrate me now, because I wake y'all up and I make y'all ask some questions. What am I going to get for my vote? Yeah? What am I going to get for my vote? I'm not going to go in here as a blind.
When somebody say something like, when Panama Black said your culture is cotton, you can block that person. I'll do it. Yeah, but when somebody disrespect or like disrespect our slave roots like in a disrespectful way, you got to block them. When they say if they say, hey man, you guys didn't really build the country, something like that, block them. We're not even debating. Like we're not going to debate obvious stuff. Like other things we can have fun, but when you try to disrespect our roots where it all started, you got to go. And see, it's a difference between being opinionated and then being disrespectful and like revising history. Yeah. So when you say our culture is cotton, goodbye, because we didn't just do cotton. Our culture is railroads, steel mills, coal mines, rice, sugar, and then we got hella inventions and innovations. So our culture is thick, and it kept changing and changing and changing. So those folks, they do the same culture. Like their culture never evolves. It's just they do the same practices all the time, every time. We keep changing. How we dress 20 years ago, we dress different. What we celebrated then, we celebrate something different now. Like we keep evolving. Those people stuck in the past. So now we're far removed from cotton.
Sleeping dummy. I'm up. I'm woke. I'm awake. With my vote, I'm getting what exactly? Well, you get to see some more immigrants come over here. Nah, that ain't enough. Nope. I'm gonna need some tangibles.
I can acknowledge. I'm gonna give you a wrench. All I ask, return like the video.
We started to see
like the likes was
that
doing
tether class get very hostile because the white supremacists place them into authoritative positions now. They're supposed to be our spokespersons. Roland and all those guys. They are supposed.
I'm like the video myself.
They're supposed to be our spokespersons.
So everybody that's coming in, please.
So now we don't go along. We say, hey, you know what? Let's slow down on just this voting for nothing. I would like to sit down with the politicians and kind of talk about what the
so Tariq is going down to voting. So he's extending it all the way to voting. You know what? We ain't gonna just vote Democrat just for no reason no more. We want to know like what do we get out of this? We're voting every year of our lives as adults to the Democratic Party, and how is it benefiting us tangibly? Like what can we actually see, feel, or taste that's coming to us based on our votes? So that's where he's at now.
Black community needs. A lot of us were saying, hey, we kind of need some things within our community. And then we start getting the tether class denigrating us. Rolling, you stupid fool, shut your ass up. And then when we start making some of these politicians lose, like Hillary, we made Hillary lose.
And Roland,
when Hillary lost, they called me out personally. They started cursing my ass out because I was telling people, I put up a hashtag. I started a hashtag,
Roland got paid, no man.
Vote. And it went viral. And I'm like, no, we ain't voting for no Hillary. We done dealt with the Clintons long enough. We done got the 3-strike Clintons whooping on our ass way too long. We need some tangibles. And then when Hillary lost, boy, the DNC sent them tethers after me. Rolling. Listen, Hillary just lost. I like to say this. Tariq Nasheed, people like him are stupid as hell, stupid fool. You big dumbass. Y'all listen to this fool. They started
Yeah,
calling me out by name.
that is
And then when they tried
hilarious.
to push Kamala Harris, Tether Mammy #1, they tried to push her out there. I started questioning her. The entire DNC went after me. Do y'all remember that? All of them went after me. They started going in on me heavy. It's a viral thread where when she was running for president.
Yeah.
This is not when she was doing vice
I need
president.
that
She was running for
Jasmine
president.
Crockett out of
And
office.
she's up here. She
She's
pulled her hair back
annoying
and
as hell,
was up here
man.
dancing to Cardi B or some shit. I said, look, this woman didn't pull her hair back to show her edges with this fake bullshit. They're like, oh, don't you say that. Oh, they all started attacking me for calling out Kamala Harris.
All right, we 7 likes
her
away.
fake
Thank you, family. Y'all definitely represented 7
They
likes
started
away.
attacking me heavy. So I started to see how organized this thing was and how they get all of these non-FBA people to do the dirty work for them. And then, family, we saw this thing come to a head with the Clubhouse app.
Well, hold on. Forlang said Joe Biden passed an executive order giving the African diaspora $1.6 trillion and every single penny was. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. There was a conference. You're talking about that conference, bro, that he did with all those African nations. Yep. Because somebody spoke about that and they asked Umar, okay, so you don't want us to take reparation money from our American government, but you don't have a problem with those Africans. I think what you're talking about. He spoke with a whole bunch of Africans over there. Oh shit, I missed. Yeah, you got to be talking about that. And it, like you said, it went all the way to Africa. I know about that, man. I be doing a lot of researching, and I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm over here. That's how I be on it. Some of the stuff y'all say.
When the Clubhouse app came out, that became a breeding ground for anti-FBA rooms. See, when Clubhouse launched, a lot of these African and Caribbean immigrants, they started hosting these daily anti-FBA rooms, openly denigrating us. They took all that stuff they used to say behind closed doors. Now they had a platform to kind of be anonymous and say what they really felt,
you, man,
because they've had to pin it up
listen,
so much.
Man, when I say I'm a researcher, I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little. All right. So I try to be in the conversation. I used to always hate to have to listen to people talk around me, over me, and I don't know what's going on. So my inquisitive mind was like, yo, I don't like that feeling. Let me adapt. Let me understand what's going on. Let me read up. Let me ask questions. And I did that. That's what worked. My uncle used to play chess around me. This is how I got into chess. He used to play chess around me always. Like, I'm online doing what I do now. Right. This is years ago though. And they would play chess. Yogi. And they play chess. And they'll argue and have me like, look, nephew, look, he cheated. And I didn't know what was going on. Yo, that alone, I just wanted to know who's cheating. Yogi, get back up there. Yeah, so that alone made me just want to know who's winning, who's cheating. I learned the rules. I asked one uncle to teach me how to play. And then from there, I started to read on my own. And neither one of them can beat me to this day. You did. So not only did I learn how to play to see who was cheating and who was lying, I found out which uncle was lying too and cheating. But not only did I learn a lot, not only did I learn enough to like understand how to play and who's cheating and who's winning, who's better, I learned enough to beat both of them. So I made them both retire from chess.
So long and say it and whisper it. So now they felt empowered. You know, the Democrats propping them up. So they kind of felt empowered. And boy, around what, 2020, when did Clubhouse really get popping? Yeah, when Clubhouse launched, the stuff they used to whisper in private, boy, they would get on there and talk about how cultureless we were, how jealous we are of them because they got culture and they know their roots, and all of them up here mimicking us using our damn dialect, by the way. Boy, they were going in on us on Clubhouse. They had a field day denigrating us. And then they tried to bring that stuff over to the Twitter spaces. That didn't quite work out like they thought it was, because by that time, the delineation movement was in full swing. We started to delineate and we started to call it out. We started to compare notes and we said, hey, man, we're going to have to look at everybody's paperwork. So by the time they tried to bring that Clubhouse energy, y'all remember the early Twitter spaces? Y'all go back and listen to some of the archives in the early Twitter spaces. The crazy anti-FBA tethers used to be in these Twitter streets heavy. We shut all that down.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell you, man. And this is before there was an FBA. They used to be disrespectful to Black Americans.
We got a couple left, like Bushmeat Barrister. We got a couple of renegades left, but it was, they were big on talking all that crap. But now, by this time, everybody had the right talking points.
That beat is hilarious.
Yeah, we knew how to counter all of that stuff. And the thought leaders and the speakers and the commentators just weren't having it. And those narratives got checked in real time. So you got to hear people dismantle and debunk them falsehoods and expose that contempt in real time. And then they try to do after we start getting on their bumper, their contempt was cloaked to the whole unity talk. They start talking about, hey, we must be Pan-Africanists. We have to have unity. We're all black. While you're waving your flag, you're promoting your
national. And that's the thing too. Like when you're FBA, Adolf Freeman intellectual, and you know what you're talking about, and you stand on business, and you go there and represent and express your thoughts, they try to act like, they try to paint us as like aggressive, belligerent, doing too much, all these different, expressions that they would throw on us to like undermine the position we're holding and proving, right? They're trying to act like, to avoid a loss, calm down. What you mean calm? I'm okay. I'm probably excited that I'm kicking your ass, but I'm okay. Like, nah, it's not that serious. Like you was like that before I started talking and debunking you. Now all of a sudden I'm the aggressor and you're just passive. Yeah, they do that.
National identity, and you're trying to denigrate our culture. Yeah. But see, they wanted to be seen as united for clout, but they wanted to be in a superior position in practice, because that's the con game. So they want us to be generic Africans so they can have a one-up on us. If we are generic Africans and they are from the continent, they're continental Africans, then they are the real deal and we are a carbon copy of them. They like that arrangement. So whenever we do something under the guise of African American, they come in and be like, well, listen,
let me
everybody
finish,
move over.
my computer, I'll be over in 10 minutes, okay?
Now let me say this. This is what we need. No reparations, no Black History Month. Hold on.
Who is Cody? Yeah,
see, that's why they have a problem with us ditching the term African American. The African American term was a trick bag. So we started to get our weight back up and say, hey, we're not going for those labels you're imposing on us. We're going to use our own labels, which is foundational Black American. That just stomped them right out in the head. That changed the game because they couldn't remix it. And they got all bent out of shape over it. And that stopped the tethering in its tracks. And then we started to see what people's get down was in real time. And instead of them coming to terms with that and saying, hey, you know what, we need to change our ways. You know what, Black Americans, you guys are right. We've been on the bullshit. We've been undermining you. We've been calling y'all all these derogatory names. Our parents have been sitting up here saying, hey, stay away from the Akata and stay away from them Yanks. Our tethered taxi drivers didn't want to pick y'all up. Y'all be walking in the cold while our taxi drivers are passing you up for white passengers. We've been doing little shit. We have our bad. No, they didn't do that.
Who is Cody?
Their thing was, you Tariq made you niggas get us.
And then bring them back, okay,
These folks want to sit up and blame me. They blame me for now. Everybody's delineating from them. They have to hold their own nuts. Now their family members are getting deported and all this stuff because we ain't caping for them no more. So instead of them themselves saying, hey, man, we got to step this thing up and kind of change our little tethering ways. So, that Tariq brainwash you niggas. Tariq is a cult leader. He has used hoodoo on your brains. Now, I'd have tricked 43 million people. No, one man ain't stopping you from all of this unity. We were unified. If it was not for Tariq, he's messing up Pan-Africanism. If one dude is messing up Pan-Africanism, then it must not have been popping. No, Tariq ain't doing nothing. I ain't leading nothing. I'm just recognizing the game. Tariq Nasheed became the mirror that you didn't want to face. I just put that mirror up to let you reflect on your own actions. All that undermining foundation of Black Americans? No. Y'all want to project your guilt onto me? I held that mirror up to you. So to let you see the contempt that you've had for us, that's not going to go down.
Right.
And I'm educating FBAs about it. See, blaming me, it's easier than acknowledging
it's all Tariq's fault. It's a perfect
and why you got to be out here by yourself. A lot of these folks don't want to admit that they were active participants in all of that anti-FBA.
And every time I debated my FBA, I could show y'all clips. It was hostile. Like I'm way more like I learned how to be more calm. But I could bring y'all back when I first transitioned my channel to defend our lineage from what I was talking about before. It was never my content was never too far, but from what I talk about now. But I was open to other conversations as well. By focusing more defending our lineage, because I see how serious it is, how people are attacking it left and right. And look at all these channels that's big just by with our name in there in a dirty way. But I remember people came on, and I'm gonna play some of my old clips where you'll see me going at tethers and Pan-Africanists, and I'm just like brutal. I'm cutting off, I'm slobbering, I'm stuttering, I'm just going crazy on them. I'm cutting off, I'm muting, and then it finally clicked. You know what, man? Let me just relax. Let them call in. Let them be a fool, and let me just cook them. In a Tariq Nasheed way, a Malcolm X way, where I ain't all hostile. You know what I mean? Breeze where they can't say because they were saying that I'm muting people too much, and like so they're like disregarding my information. Oh, he called me a tether. He muted me. So like they was like kind of undermining what I did. So I said, all right, let me calm down and position the live a different way, the podcast a different way. So now you see me now. I'm just calm, talking regular, but the early beginnings of me, oh my God, I was lighting them up.
A cotton picker, where y'all were talking
play those
cash
videos
and
back.
act like y'all weren't. Yes, you were. Dismissing our culture, ghetto, coming over here. Mona Scott with Love and Hip Hop showing all of that ratchetness.
FLA for the trucker.
Don't sit here and talk about I created some division.
Right.
You got to have a level of unity before you can have division. Where was all this unity? It was
they're
nothing
gonna
but
use
exploiting
that to
and
act
denigrating.
like we ain't getting nothing done.
I was one of the first to point it out because I was a target from these damn tethers. They were targeting my ass. The tether media and the tether politicians, along with White Mommy and White Zaddy. So I started to see the play a long time ago. Because see, these people, they benefited from all that anti-FBA nonsense. They benefited from it. Now they got exposed.
Right, they prove your points, talking all stupid.
They benefited from that.
And by the way, I want Kwame to call in because Kwame he's a tether that comes over here and troll all the time. I mean, like this will make sure, and he doesn't think you're a tether. It's like, dude, no matter what we talk about, when you come into the chat, you oppose all of us immediately. You have the opposition role, and you're not a tether. Like, yo, what live did Kwame ever come over here and say, yeah, man, yeah? Because we don't always talk about this. Sometimes we talk about politics. We might talk about ICE or who knows, the war Iran and Israel or Ukraine and Russia. And no matter what we talking about, he'll have this oppositional stance, this tether. So anyway, he called in Tariq Nasheed. I'm gonna show you what video he called in on. He called Tariq Nasheed. I got the video here saved. This one right here. This one. He said, now Kwame. So Tariq Nasheed made this video, this title based on Kwame. Kwame was the Jamaican Caribbean immigrant who said we don't have a homeland, like saying ridiculous shit. So Dan, Tariq Nasheed let Dan up, and Dan cooked the hell out of him. So Kwame said that he would call in. Yesterday he didn't do, but today, like, where you at? So I want Kwame to call in to defend his position against Dan, because Dan wrapped him up quick, fast, and got him out of there. So I want him to call in today so we can go over that. All right, so let's get back to where we were.
That they're the good black immigrants and FBAs are the real problem. And once that dynamic was exposed by us delineating, they panic. They're panicking now. Just like this fool called up. He's all incoherent.
Yeah, it cuts.
He just babbling, don't know what to say. They're panicking right now. And what they want to try to do is discredit the messenger instead of basically acknowledging your years of one-sided disrespect. Stop that. See, the FBA delineation movement, it shattered that whole cultural superiority complex. Like I said, quietly, they believe that their culture, heritage, their accents made them better or more rooted.
Right. Yo.
So now that we ain't using that term.
I remember before this whole delineation thing, I remember there were people who I thought were foundation Black Americans, right? And then first chance they got, they would show that they're not. The first chance they got, they waited for that moment, and the first chance they got, they showed me they're not foundation Black American. And it used to always shock me, like, I thought you was. Oh, I thought you were. I didn't know that. Wow. Like, and that was like a real interesting experience. I was like 25, 28, 30. I'm looking like, wow, I thought you were. Wow. So the whole time you were like informant shit, right? That's how I'm looking at it like that. So the whole time I thought you were one of me. And you this. So I'm like, so why do you even say that from the door? Like, you have me believing you were foundational. Yeah, some like informant shit without being an informant.
Term no more. You don't feel superior no more.
Yeah, he
That's why
said
they're
that
mad, because now
before.
we're embracing our
That's why I
American
didn't even
culture. We're
call
not
in.
continental African. So hey, knock yourself out. You got it. Wait, nigga. You are African too. You are Bantu. They're always trying to put some weird tribe. You're just saying shit. You are Iba, nigga. You don't know nothing. Shut up. No, I'm not. Stop it. Just stop it. We are foundational Black Americans. Yeah, and we're uplifting our own rich culture here. We're not even denigrating you. We're not denigrating you. We're uplifting our own culture. Now you come over talking greasy. You get roasted. Yeah, we start roasting you. Because y'all know that's part of foundational Black American culture. We roast, and they want to go toe to toe with the roast game with us. Dude,
Yeah,
we
Lord
got way too
Maul.
much material on your ass. That's the problem. They want to get into a roast battle. And remember when we do the early Twitter spaces, the Somalis and East Africans, they come in here trying to roast. You niggas eat fried chicken. You eat Popeye's chicken and smoke crack, nigga. Really? Are we really going there?
Right. See?
Y'all don't want to play the dozens with me. Y'all don't want to go there. We kept
They were
warning them.
started.
And we start lighting them up. We start getting on them foreheads, flip-flop flies. Y'all
The
got
three Fs, forehead
we got
flip-flop
too
flies.
much material.
Hold on.
We ought to be up here trying to roast
Yeah, did
somebody.
he say we went to the three Fs? The forehead flip-flop. That's five. That's four Fs. Yeah, that's funny. Yo, are you a 4F? Yo, all right. Oh, we got it now. That's a better. Oh, okay. We got the new term for tether. Wait, FBA versus. Wait, I'm putting in chat. FBA versus the four Fs. Oh, the forehead flip-flop flies. Yo, that is hilarious. The four Fs. Oh, we gonna get him with that one, yo. Yo, are you FBA? And they don't want to tell us, okay, you must be a 4F. Now they looking like, wait, you ain't gonna say tether? Nah, 4Fs. What's that? They're gonna think they're gonna think tether is worse. Like forehead flip-flop flies. Yo, the 4Fs, yo, it's over. Yeah, I might trademark that. It's over.
Are we really going there? Y'all don't want to play the dozens with me. Y'all don't want to go there. We kept warning them. And we start lighting them up. We start getting on them foreheads, flip-flop flies.
Yo, the 4Fs. Forehead flip-flop fly. Yo, that is hilarious, yo. BMF, we got BMF and we got the 4Fs.
Are we really going there? Y'all don't want to play the dozens with me. Y'all don't want to go there. We kept warning them. And we start lighting them up. We start getting on them foreheads, flip-flop flies. We got too much material for y'all to be up here trying to roast somebody. Dude, come on now.
Foreheads, flip-flop flies. Yeah, that is hilarious.
So the thing is, man, they can't refute facts, so they try to attack, the influencers.
Now flip-flop, that's two Fs there.
And the historic evidence to basically highlight all of that passive-aggressive disdain.
Forehead
That's
is
like old
one.
tweets of me talking about essence
Two,
and how
flop,
they're going down.
three,
I had a
flies,
tweet from
that's four.
near a decade ago, breaking that down. And now we see it in real time. We see it playing out right now. Everybody's criticizing Essence for their lackluster productions now. So the thing is, they're upset because foundational Black Americans, we're now saying no. See, for a long time, they've expected unconditional unity from us while mocking, displacing, and dismissing us. Now that we're pushing back, we're setting boundaries now. We're practicing lineage-based solidarity, and we're not letting anybody denigrate or exploit our lineage no more. So now they feel offended. So instead of reflecting, they're like, Tariq, he poisoned Black unity. We were going to have Akon City, nigga. Did y'all see the shit with Akon City, by the way? Did y'all see the stuff going on with Akon City? Yeah, Senegal pulled out. They were like, Akon, get this bull. You ain't about to give us our damn land back. Remember, Senegal gave Akon, singer, rapper, whatever he calls himself.
Yeah.
They gave him a bunch of land because he went up there talking about he's going to build Akon City. It's going to be like Wakanda. It's going to be flying trains and it's going to be kryptonite bushmeat. It was just going to be all types of futuristic shit that they were going to have. It was going to have radioactive musk.
Yeah, might be right.
Just all types of weird shit.
All right, 3Fs then.
And
Damn, y'all made me create an image for no reason.
Remember, he was going around telling us, listen, y'all over here in America, we need to come back to the motherland. Yeah, nigga, we got to come back to the motherland. We got all that land. I'm about to build Akon City. Y'all need to get on down with this. Man, we're gonna have high rises, futuristic buildings. A dope image. It's gonna be underground tunnels with high speed trains. It's gonna be baboons with wings and helmets flying everybody to the airport. Just all types of bullshit. They were trying to get us on board with it. And talking about all the money that they need and all that. And Senegal gave them land, but now we ain't interested in none of that stuff. There's zero interest in us collectively for participating in any of that stuff. And without us on board, because it only would work if we were going to be on board. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing really works, in Black society anywhere unless FBAs are on board. And because we ain't with it, we've delineated. We're like, we good. We ain't about to go to Mustania or whatever you're gonna call your magic city. We're not
Mustania.
We're cool. So now everything fell flat. My sister Aki put up some good tweets earlier talking about the Essence thing. Like, that was dumb for Essence to try to pander basically to the non-FBA crowd. They don't. She made a good point. She's like, the non-FBA crowd don't really support stuff like that. That's not a good demographic. They don't get nothing popping, which is true. To be honest, y'all don't really get nothing popping unless it's tethered on us. I'm not trying to be mean. You don't get nothing popping unless it's tethered onto us. We have to be on board. That's why they're so mad with us delineating. They know without us co-signing some shit, it's rough for them. They ain't gonna get nothing popping. Look, am I lying? Tell me where I'm lying. Hell, even Afro beats. They love talking about Afro beats. Afro beats is the banging, nigga. Listen to Afro beats. What do they sample in most of them Afro beat songs? Most of them are samples from songs, FBA songs from the 90s and the 2000s. Right? Burna Boy, Wizard. Oh, they sample our old R&B shit. And then, man, I'm not trying to be mean, but you just don't get nothing popping without us. And like my sister said, they tried to get the Essence Festival. They thought they were going to try to pander to another audience. That's going to fall flat. These folks, some of these non-FBAs, they don't really get things popping on their own. They basically get online to whine to us. They get online whining at us all the damn time, but they don't really get nothing popping. And I'm not trying to denigrate anybody, but we got to talk real here.
Forehead flip-flop flies.
But the thing is, a lot of these folks, they're so used to speaking in codes, and I start making their little codes public. I'll start letting folks know what they're saying, where they're saying it, the little slick shit that they're doing. Them sitting up here trying to project the lack of culture onto us, talking about we ain't got no culture, this, and I'm like, we don't know where we're from. I'm like, wait a minute, family.
So that's not hatred when you got foreigner blacks saying we don't have culture. That's not hatred. Like, that's just okay. Like, see, things like that lopsided type of logic let us know, it's something special about us. Like, what makes y'all sit back? Like, so y'all think tank, y'all think tanks is about how to talk about us, how to be jealous and disrespect us. That's that. Instead of think tanking how to build your country up, y'all want to think tank on how to talk about us. Guess what? And guess what? They ain't got this, they ain't got that, and they ain't got culture. Really, if you think about it, they ain't got culture either, and they ain't got no homeland. This is how they talk. God damn it! I had to smack out this damn bee with the fly swatter. I was trying not to hit the bee, but I had to. It was too close.
Don't let none of these. We've been here longer than their countries have been around. Don't let them project that on us. We are more deeply rooted than them. We know our culture. We know who our ancestors are. We can actually trace our ancestors by name because we were very well documented over here. So
you
we let them
run
a Jedi mind trick. We had to clean that up. I started as a historian letting people know. No. We got to clean that up.
Okay.
We know more about history than they do.
Where's he at, in the grass?
They don't really have records like that. Not only that, they don't have birth certificates like that. The majority of Africa don't have birth certificates. A lot of these folks don't know how old they are. That's why they have these January 1st birthdays. A lot of folks didn't know that until I pointed
it out. So once I'm
really
done, I'll go over there and look at them, okay?
How dare you tell them that, nigga? I was born on New Year's. No, you weren't. You were born somewhere in a tent in the Serengeti. And you got breastfed by a camel, nigga. You don't know when you were born or where. You don't know nothing. You know?
Okay, watch the cord right there.
We started pointing all of this stuff out.
You got your hair done?
And so now there's a fear of losing control of the black
narrative. Lex, if you listen, this is why I can't do the interview.
It challenges that idea that anybody black,
something like this will happen,
quote unquote, or melanated can speak for Black Americans.
Here, Yugi, watch the cord.
The political gatekeepers, see, they used to be able to insert themselves
so I'll be done in
struggle and then rewrite history.
Some minutes, okay?
And I was one of the people that helped disrupt that power structure. So instead of them acknowledging their false representation, they want to call me a divider because I don't woke everybody up to some of that bullshit. You see, they want the benefits of unity without the responsibility. See, a lot of them, they talk about unity when it benefits them. Grants, media roles, jobs, positions, all that. But they don't want to be called out for dismissing foundation of Black American culture. during history.
All right, so Alex, Vortex, if you're listening, that's why I can't do an interview. That can happen at any moment. That's why I said, just give me a month. Be back in Jersey. It'll be either I'm in the South. In the South, everybody love each other. Like they got the hospitality. They got real neighbors. They'll talk to you. Up north, ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody gonna walk up to you while you on the phone or the computer. They're not doing that. In the South, a little different. So, and that can happen at any time I'm live. You dig? So, just give me a month. I'll be in Jersey. We can get we can interview about his book.
Yeah.
Jesse,
so the thing is, they're mad at the grassroots because now the grassroots, they think for themselves.
So Jesse said, peace, man. He said, B1, salute. Peace to you.
I didn't divide anything. I informed the grassroots. Now everyday foundational Black Americans are thinking critically. You're pushing back. You're delineating. That grassroots awakening, that threatens the immigrants who depend on foundational Black American silence. I'm not talking about our riders, because we still got riders and we love you.
So I got another, I got hella content. I got like another hour and a half. So once Tariq finishes, it's going to be next person up.
We rock with you and respect that.
He's almost done.
So them trying to attack me by saying I done brainwashed everybody.
Yeah, he's the leader. He brainwashed us.
Listen, y'all think.
And when we defend FBA Adolf Friedman, we automatically become a Tariq puppet or cult member. I remember Ditso, that weirdo Spanish guy Ditso. He went on Unk channel, and Laura Abba was there. Naeem, he called himself. Naeem Friedman is what he called himself. So he went on there and didn't even understand. Like they argued the lineage thing too, but they argue for the term should be Friedman. So he on there, the dude he's so obsessed with FBA. He's FBA this, FBA that. Naeem Friedman was like, yo, why you you gotta talk to them about that. Like I'm Friedman. Like I go by that. We got our own website. This is what we do over here. And this one ain't know what to say because he joined the panel. He's showing his face and everything. So he looks so out of place. Yo, y'all gotta watch that. Like he looks so out of place because he thought because they were talking about delineation and you need a term for yourself and everything we talk about, he was out of place because he thought they were FBA. They were Friedman. He how he's showing his face. He's on the panel. He looked weird as hell. He's like, what did I get myself into? That's what happens when you troll.
These 43 million foundational Black Americans don't see you and see the little slick shit you do and see the undermining. You think they don't see that at their job? You go to the job.
Is a funny ass name to describe him.
And you see, a tether becomes a supervisor, then all of a sudden you getting sabotaged out of your job, and then all of a sudden it's a bunch of them up there. People see this stuff in real time. They're putting two and two together. They're like, hey man, hold on.
And that's a great point because when I worked at Toys R Us in Jersey, my supervisor, one of the managers was Jamaican, right? And he used to give me a hard damn time. And if you worked in Toys R Us, like I was a person when you ordered like something like a slide or some type of big thing for like yourself or your kids, whatever, when you come to pick it up, you got to come pick it up at the drop off part in the back somewhere on the side. So sometimes, it's kind of hard to find it. And sometimes be heavy as hell. You need another man to help you and they might not be around. And I was never that type of person that would do like stuff like that, carry heavy stuff. That was never my thing. Yeah, I ain't like moving. I'm the last person to call you when I move. All right. I even hate moving myself. So I'd rather pay somebody. So anyway, so a customer was upset that I couldn't find they had a ticket. I couldn't find an item fast enough. So my manager came over here and the customer let him have it. White guy. She let him have it. And he was embarrassed, red face and everything. Then she got what she finally needed. He helped her get it. And then they left. And then he let me have it. Like told me off. I'm like 18, 19 years old. At that point, I was kind of like shy. I wasn't as boisterous as I am now. I was kind of shy. And I would like he really picked. I was mad as hell. So I remember I was in a break room and one of the dudes I'd be talking to that's like, worker, FBA guy was like, yo, what's going on, Ron? I was like, man, I explained what happened. I said, man, that shit made me feel like I'm mad. I'm mad, whatever. He was like, well, you should tell him how you feel. He said, you should tell him how you feel. Now, I, at that point, didn't do that. I didn't express feelings. I wasn't like voice. I wasn't aggressive, none of that type of stuff. And I just thought about it when he said that. So then the manager come walk in, the same guy who yelled at me. He came in there, and my boy already left. So he went to get coffee with her. He about to leave. I said, hey, man, can I tell you something? And then I told him how I felt. It was the first time. It's like uncomfortable. I finally did it, and I was good at it. I was like really good at it. I wasn't like, spotted brainy. I was really good at it. And he was like, oh, okay. And like, but you see that he changed the way he treated me, and it must relate to the Jamaican dude because he changed the way he treated me. So everybody like treated me better. So from there, that's how I became like real boisterous and opinionated. I felt like when you're boisterous and opinionated, people kind of respect you better than somebody who withholds your feelings and your opinions. So I just been addicted to telling how I feel, and as a result, I'm unbiased. You see, I'm unbiased sports. So that's all that happens. I'm not afraid to tell you how I really feel. If it takes me to be unbiased, oh well. But the Jamaican dude became cool with me. It was no real big thing after that. But it wasn't until I expressed how I truly felt, the word got back, and everybody left me alone. And I got cool with the Jamaican dude after that. So sometimes you just got to express yourself, like NWA. Long story short. All right, so this is for Kwame. What's this over here? Okay, so now this is a video. Okay, this is a video. I'm not gonna play it. I want you to see it. This is a video by Yvette Carnell. Okay, this is 6 years ago. It's called ADOS Explained in 60 Seconds. All right, this is before FBA. So now let me go ahead and just read the comments. So not the video, the comments here is what's going to be interesting. All right, watch this. This is going to be wild, yo. This is wild. Okay, so now, I ain't going to read all of them. So it says, Black Americans engage in some self-determination and everyone bugs out. Everything we're saying now. This is ADOS. So now they try to act like it's FBA, but they were doing this with ADOS. Next one. It's not hard to understand. Ain't that what we say now with FBA? It's not hard to understand, which is why I suspect some folks are pretending they don't understand. At least they cannot claim ignorance. It's plain and simple that even a caveman could understand. Auntie Yvette Carnell, salute. So this is saying, they're saying ADOS cannot be that hard to explain. See, these same tethers was playing that with them. They're trying to play us. We have generational tortured bones buried throughout North America. Okay, okay, cool. Watch this. Why is this so hard for people to understand? So they're doing the same, they're making the same complaints we make today. Like, yo, why y'all act like y'all can't get it? They call in Turk Nasheed. Hey, what's the tether? Okay, come over here. Come on, runner. Turk Nasheed, what's the tether? They play stupid on purpose. Again, I'm a great researcher. Is it illegal? Is it a legal issue as a matter of law? Okay, or ADOS is blah, 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 blah. Let me get some more. This guy shakes the table. Okay, just give me. Come on, dude. You're shaking the table, man. Okay, just leave it. It's okay. All right, let me go back. So Kamala's mother was from the highest caste in India, an elite background. The thing is, they'll hear this. Look. The thing is, they'll hear this as plainly as it's stated, and still find obtuse reasoning on how it's extreme. Okay, come on, you got to make some noise. Come on. Okay, good. Okay, look. And then they'll find obtuse reasoning on how it's extreme and flawed, still sharing it across all platforms, plain and simple. You see, so they were pretending ADOS was hard to understand. These folks know what we're talking about. I'm sick of them trying to distract us. They talking about tethers. They just ain't have a name for it. I'm an American, DOS. My mom is blah blah blah. You talking all that? All right, cool. I'm not ADOS, and respect y'all for. Okay, cool. Thank you. See, it's all about ADOS, and they're acting like they can't understand what ADOS is about and what it means and why it's here. All right. Let's see. Look, if you have a hard time understanding what the lady said, play it again. ADOS right to my Yvette Carnell. So these tethers been faking like they don't know what delineation means back then with Adolf and now with FBA. You dig? We got you. We got right, straight agents. But they'll tell us that we side with right wing talking points, that we are white supremacists, things like that. And we got them. We got them. We caught them. And guess what? Guess what? Lex Vortex would say, that's called gaslighting. Okay, they are gaslighting us. I just wanted to show that. That was interesting. All right. So now let's go here. Take a little break and let's hear why we should support Pan-Africanism.
The continent invest. Do you think they would be like, oh great, we're glad that you guys are here finally, or do you think they would be like, hold up, like y'all are not from here, y'all are American, because they other us obviously, but I just want to because you're South Sudanese, from a South Sudanese perspective.
They wouldn't touch an American because they have the whole U.S. government behind them. It's the same way why we don't touch.
But would they
Asians,
be
the Indians, and
open
all
or
that.
would they be prejudiced? Is my question.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to be more open to them because they look like us. But obviously, we're going to be
And bruh, stop it.
like, okay, who's this American black American? Obviously, it's going to be rough at the beginning. But once they start speaking your language, what can you say after that?
Yeah.
But why is it rough in the beginning? Well, why? Because if we're all just black, right? We're all just African. Shouldn't it be welcome home, brother?
And I think that's the go ahead, Willie.
Like I think all problems are local. So for you to tell someone in South Sudan who has their own struggles and like of feeding themselves or like finding shelter, being like a peaceful environment.
Yeah, Lex Vortex is going to do an interview with me about his book about FBA Codex, something like that. Right? I'm gonna get to. He sent me the link. So we're gonna do an interview. He's gonna explain his story and everything like that. It's gonna be a dope interview. But he just gotta be a little patient because I was saying that you see my setting. You see at any moment kids just walk up to me, start talking, you know, and they do it all the time. Like this ain't Jersey. Like there's no way to go. Like Jersey, there's hella places to go where you could do Wi-Fi and it's completely quiet. Now I am an outside person. That's why I'm outside. I like somebody said I'm light skinned, but I'm not light skinned right now. I'm brown. Like I love walking. I walk miles, like to the store, mile and a half back. Take me about an hour to get there, hour to get back. In Jersey, I walked far further in Jersey. Okay, I love walking. I like to stay in shape. I like my legs strong. I like to have a fit look, and I like to be outside. I love the sun. Like people hide from the sun. I love the sun. Like I'm really brown, and so what I'm saying is I don't want to be inside. Now, if it was like a little cooler, I'd be inside. Be easier to do interview with Lex. I like to be outside. It's not too many places you can. And my laptop is janky. It has to be plugged in. Now this laptop was janky from the door. This was a Lenovo Edge 2. I guess they all had like a charging issue. The battery charge, brand new, like maybe a month in, the battery no longer worked ever. I had this laptop for like maybe 12 years. The battery that never worked. So you have to plug this in. I had a Mac. I bought a Mac, and my little son kicked the screen. That's done. And then I had another computer that I broke trying to open the damn thing up. I broke it. It's a cheap computer. I broke it. So all my computers that can go without being plugged up, I broke them all, and I'm left with this desktop laptop. Now I do have 5 iPads. Of course, they don't got to be plugged up, but an iPad is different from a laptop. I could do so much more on a laptop than an iPad. Like for example, on an iPad, you can't highlight nobody from the comments. You can with a laptop or computer, desktop. So I'm outside. I'm literally outside all the time, and it's hot, but I love it. Right? Even when I play basketball, I always prefer like the sun, playing in the sun over being in an air-conditioned gym. Like that's just always been me. I love the sun. I work out in the sun. I walk in the sun. You dig? I'd like to do everything in the sun. I hate mosquitoes, so I keep off of me. I spray myself down, but outside of that, and I keep a fly swatter for the flies. but I love the sun. So because of that, I'm always outside, and and then like I said, I got my son with me. So even if I was to go to uh, a private business, but Wi-Fi, what's going to keep him entertained? So that's why I go to McDonald's with the play area. But you're not always lucky. Sometimes the play area is kind of empty or light. I could talk, and sometimes it's chaotic. Okay, so it's like really weird. But in Jersey, I got more family, more kids around, more aunts and things like that to take them. Not gonna be isolated and do my thing. So Lex has got to be a little patient, and by next month for sure, we can do the book review because he can explain it all, and it'd be dope. I'm gonna get a copy, of course.
That you're bringing your Pan-Africanism to them, you can understand why they would be like, I don't want to hear about that, you know? Like they've never seen a white person, they've never experienced, they don't know what racism is. They just want to be able to live a peaceful life and
Wait. They never seen a white person. Hold on. Say that one more time.
why they would be like, I don't want to hear about that, you know?
Wait.
Like they've never shelter, being like a peaceful environment, that you're bringing your Pan-Africanism to them, you can understand why they would be like, I don't want to hear about that, you know? Like they've never seen a white person, they've never experienced, they don't know what racism is.
Okay, so half of this is bullshit. The British and the British government is the reason why this Sudan is in shambles today. The British government is the reason why Sudan is one of the poorest countries today. And he just said that they don't know what racism is. Yo, so if I ask, so we used to ask this guy, okay, so why is your country a shithole? You gonna blame yourselves? Or you gonna point at the British? The British. Ain't that like some delusion? He said they don't understand what racism is and their country is in shambles. It's a shithole, literally. It's one of the poorest countries in the world because of white people. But they don't know what racism is. Like this is one more time if I misheard this guy.
You're bringing your Pan-Africanism to them, you can understand why they would be like, I don't want to hear about that, you know? Like they've never seen a white person, they've never experienced, they don't know what racism is.
Oh,
They
see, he's
just want
blind.
to be able to live a peaceful life and, you
He's
know.
blind.
So when you're coming from America and you're like, oh, hey, I have this great idea, you know, they're just like, get out of here. I'm
Claude
trying to feed
Neely,
my family right
France,
now. That's
Amos.
my focus.
I see
Like
you
I
got the
don't have
names
time
mentioned. You
for
got Claude
To
Anderson,
think
Neely
about
Fuller,
the
other
other
Francis
issues
Preston. You
that
got Dr.
we
Amos. I see you.
as black people in the diaspora, like our problems
That's a
are not
clever
their
name.
problems. They're like they can't relate to that, so they don't understand how like the Pan-Africanism like itself, it's not an issue that they
they're
would,
worried about.
yeah, that they would think about, you know. So
That's
it
right.
makes sense why they would be hesitant to be like, oh, okay, yeah, welcome, like, you know.
You don't think our problem is the same everywhere though? I mean, in terms of just poverty, being looked down, not having the economic wealth as everybody else, I feel like that's a common thing in all black societies, regardless if you're from the States or you're from, Africa, the original, place. So it's like, um, when it comes down to, yeah, the more common, folk, saying, yeah, why are you coming here? I feel like it's the same way everywhere in the States. But I feel like that's when it comes down to like talking about corporations, the government. They are the one that really care.
Oh my God. Here we go. The government. Okay. Let me play the government song. Here we go with the government. Give me 1 second. Here we go. These guys, there is no accountability with these folks that disrespect us. There's no accountability. Straight delusion. Now it's the government. And one more time.
Not having the economic wealth as everybody else, I feel like that's a common thing in all black societies, regardless if you're from the States or you're from, Africa, the original, place. So it's like, um, when it comes down to, yeah, the more common, folk, saying, yeah, why are you coming here? I feel like it's the same way everywhere in the States. But I feel like that's when it comes down to like talking about corporations, the government. They are the one that really care about who's coming in. That's where you talk about, you have China coming in, China come into every place, and they put money down, and it's all for their good, their common interest at the end of the day. and it's really not for the people that they even go to the land of. Because I see it at St. Croix, you see it in Africa where they come in, they destroy the land, they make their money and they go out and dip. So it's like, I feel like that's the same issue we all are having.
The
and
government
when it comes down to trying to reach the common people and say, like, how can we all really just team up and together and really put wealth into where we actually are from. I think that would be a different story. Because you look at out here in the States, I mean, like, every other culture but us is is carpooling their interests together. They bring in all the Jewish people, they put their money together.
The government, it's the government, it's the government, the government, it's the government, it's the government, it's the government.
I think if there was just
the government, it's the government, it's the government, the government, it's the government, it's the government, it's the government.
Like, they really care about the middle class, lower people, because we all got the same problem. There's Section 8. What we call Section 8 in the U.S. is just poor in other countries. They don't. That's just a government title. We all suffering.
Wait, what? What the fuck? He just saying stupid shit. What?
Lower people, because we all got the even, like, they really care about the middle class, lower people, because we all got the same problem. There's Section 8. What we call Section 8 in the U.S. is just poor in other countries. They don't. That's just a government title. We're all suffering from not having to pay our bills.
What the? What is he talking about, man? He said Section 8. It's just tether babble. Yeah, dude, you know what I mean? Government programs are out there in this country. It's not just for poor people. It's for people that got behind their bills. But you can't minimize it to Section 8. There's a whole bunch of assistant programs out here. You just got to qualify, but you ain't necessarily poor.
Not being able to make food for ourselves. So that's a common interest, I feel like. But
So
I agree with you. I agree with you.
About
go ahead.
Because you were talking about just economic struggles in general, right?
All right.
And I've always had this.
All right. Look, let's get to it. Okay, so we're back here. Top colleges taking more blacks, but which ones? So New York Times in 2004 understood that there's some black folks in America, but they all ain't black the same. All right, so now I'm gonna fast forward. Watch this. Listen to this.
Candidacy this weekend at the old state capitol in.
Listen.
Obama will announce his candidacy this weekend at the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln made his stirring House Divided speech. How historic. At a building made famous by the man who freed the slaves, Obama isn't the descendant of slaves.
Okay, so a white man back in 2000 some change, where Obama was running for president his first term, a white man acknowledged that Obama is not a what? Descendant of slave, DOS. Okay, this is 2000. This got to be like 2003-ish, because don't they win that next year? So it's like 2003-ish. Okay, and Obama won in 2004. I believe his term starts in 2004. I believe that's how it is. So this is 2003. So a white man understood that all black people globally are not the same. There are some black people from different places, and there are some who are descendants of slaves and others are not. So is this white man delineating? Ask the tethers, is this white man delineating?
Speech. Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln made his stirring House Divided speech. How historic.
This could have been a second term. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Lincoln made his stirring House Divided speech. How historic. At a building made famous by the man who freed the slaves, Obama isn't the descendant of slaves.
Obama isn't ADOS. He basically just said, you did. So we don't even got to say this is common knowledge, but like we said, they pretend to be stupid, to be tether babbling, but they know they're not like us. Okay, and it eats at them, so they play dumb. so they don't have to realize it. It's true.
His father emigrated from Kenya in 1959, and his mom is the Swiss Miss Girl. Some are even claiming that the senator has not lived the, quote, black experience, and
Oh, so there's a such thing as a black experience in this country.
it may affect his support in the African American community. Here to explain is columnist for Salon.com and author of the book, The End of Blackness.
Okay, there you go, Miss Deborah Dickerson.
Deborah Dickerson. Ms. Dickerson, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's not. In the American political context, black.
Do you see? So now, hold on. I can't let that go against you. Look, so Yvette said Obama's not African American, and now you got Deborah Dickerson saying he's not black. One more time.
Black.
No. Thanks for having me.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's not.
Okay, you see? So we were delineating way back then. It did not start with Tariq Nasheed. So again, family, you got to educate these fools. Okay? Sometimes you don't got to. Walk away. But you see, so we were gatekeeping. We were gatekeeping African American, even though that's not proper, and we were gatekeeping black. But to some degree, they co-opted. So we like, all right, cool, you got it. And we did the FBA Adolf thing.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's not. In the American political context, black means the son of West African, the descendant of West African slaves brought here to labor in the United States. It's not a put down. It's not to say that he hasn't suffered. It's not to say that he doesn't have a glorious lineage of his own. It's just to say that he and I, who am descended from West African slaves brought to America, we are not the same.
Okay, you see that? We are not the same. So was Deborah Dickerson delineating back in the early 2000s before an FBA or ADOS concept? So you see, that's why I said this is the origins. The origins and why.
Role of being black. So he's also a person who has adopted the role of being black. So he's a brother, but he's an adopted brother. And the significance of this, he's a beloved adopted brother. The significance
so he's like a redheaded stepchild. You can slap him around a little bit and nobody's going to care.
But we love him just the same.
Okay, all right. But so it sounds to me like you are judging blackness not on the color of someone's skin, but on the content of their character.
No, it's not the content of our character, it's the content of our history and our culture. And
lineage. Oh, she's delineating. Oh, so you mean she's our leader, Tethers? So you were wrong when you said Tariq is our leader. Oh, Deborah Dickerson is our leader. Oh, I get it.
what we're doing by calling him black is obliterating the culture of his Kenyan father.
All right. That hurts. Okay, look. Is Obama the new black? Right. And we say Obama in this context of the article is synonymous with African or Africa. Okay, so look at this. Decoding the debate over the blackness of Barack Obama. I'm telling you, yo, we were on it because prior to that, when you said you were black African American, all we thought about was FBA. We didn't really consider immigrants. So when they started saying he's going to be the first black president, we was like, wait, what? You mean the first Kenyan president? No, black. No, African American. We're like, oh, in what sense is he black? And what sense is he African American? And if he's black and African American, then we can't be. And that's kind of how we were talking. Listen, you're seeing history plays. Like history is recorded. All right. So let me get you over here.
but the on-screen graphic includes the insult Obama's baby mama, which in urban slang means an unwed mother, often a minority unwed mother. How does the Obama...
So basically, the talk is Obama got our support only because his wife was FBA and right-wing media started to attack her, like you said, a baby mama. So when they attacked FBA, his FBA wife, we felt tied to her and we defended her, and by default we end up supporting Obama.
Obama campaign answer crap like this?
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting tonight from Los Angeles. Thank you for watching us. Does Michelle Obama dislike America? That is the subject of the
Okay, you see, so they were attacking Michelle Obama, and because she's clearly foundational Black American, we resonated with her. And this is just a bad strategy for the Republican Party. They might have won, you dig, had he not done that. So they attacked her, we rallied behind her, and as a result, we supported Obama. Okay, and there you go. All right, so let me go a little further. So I just gave you that real quick. Let me go a little further in the video. I want to get to where I want to get to. So somebody asked for Dr. Clout Anderson. I told you I got you. There you go. I got you. I said I'm going to get you Dr. Clout Anderson.
But so the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that are going to drive us in this underclass structure is that you're going to have an unending influx of immigrants into the country.
We heard that yesterday.
And that's what Dr. Price is talking about. And nobody, no Black politician, no Black organization wants to deal with that issue. They will avoid it at all costs, even though in their hearts they know that's one of the biggest problems for Black folk. We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the #2 population for 400 years.
Uh-oh.
You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4.
What happens?
Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4. And the worst part about it is as you descend and go down to number 4, those other groups are going to go up. And as they go past you, you're going to have major racial clashes in this country. And as they go past you, you're going to have major racial clashes in this country. You're going to have major racial clashes in this country.
Yeah, the only time I ever, and I'm not bragging, I'm not saying good or bad, right? Because you know you have the right to vote, and you should exercise your rights if you want to. So I'm not somebody going to tell you who to vote for and not to vote. You dig? But the only president I ever voted for was Bill Clinton. I was like peer pressured, but I never voted. Actually, that's the only time I ever voted. Again, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not saying that was smart. I'm just saying that's just the truth. Okay, that's the only president. That's the only time I ever voted.
We have fights all over this country between Blacks and Hispanics, Blacks and Asians, Blacks and poor whites. And Black folk cannot fight all these groups. Everybody can not always be against Black folk. They know that we are vulnerable and we are defenseless. And we cannot fight those groups. Because you see, they didn't come into this country with the legacies that we are stuck with.
Right.
Everybody in America has an advantaged position but Black folk. But all are in a state of denial. But they're going to keep running these games on Black folk. And at the same time, we got Black folk that are accepting that.
This is Ann Culture
experience. Yes. What do you mean by that? Yes, I'm glad you asked that because I think it's one of the most important points of the book. I mean, I think the way liberals have treated Blacks like children and many of their policies have been...
Again, this is like, she's racist as hell. But it's so easy. Even a racist can get it. But these tethers all of a sudden got ADD, ADHD. They can't get it.
And harmful to Blacks, at least they got the beneficiary. Like children and many of their policies have been harmful to Blacks, at least they got the beneficiary group right. We do have to, I mean, we shouldn't there is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortions, but that's, or gays who want to get married to one another. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. They dropped the blacks after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks. No, I think civil rights are for blacks.
Racist, alt-right, far-right, extremist Republicans can tell you all day long that these programs were for, when we say blacks, he's talking about FBA ADOS. Okay. It's easy to see. So when these tethers like Kwame come over and they act like it's so difficult to process, we know these guys are agents, informants of white supremacy, and white supremacy don't even want. They like, yo, let's Stockton. Look, white supremacy like, yeah, hey man, Stockton's stupid. This is clear, right? We don't want y'all. We want you to do something else. But this denial of, you know, what they're owed is just retarded. We're not even waste time sending resources to debate that bullshit. Stay on task. You dig? Do what we sent you to do.
If Republicans don't do something with immigration, and if Republicans are so far away from Latinos, they're going to lose not only this election, they might lose the White House for generations.
The future.
And Texas to turn
that's why the
from red to
Democrats
blue.
are dropping the blacks and moving on to the
They're not
Hispanics
dropping the
because they're a
blacks. They're not
larger group of Hispanics now.
Okay, so that's what they hate. A white racist can tell you the truth, but a tether who's supposed to be down with us, a Pan-Africanist brother, can't understand it. Cool. All right, you stay over there. Well, you guess what? Stay over there until you understand it. All right, so here's some more racist rants.
Back in the book segment tonight, a follow-up to my talking points memo on why some African Americans are failing in the marketplace.
So remember, now all of a sudden, African American just means us now. You see, so that's the problem with African American. Because before it was inclusive to Obama, but when they read this negative stat, it's just exclusive to just us. So he's gonna read this negative stat about, look.
It's mostly about poor education, fractured families, and a culture that does not prepare folks to compete in the competitive marketplace. To make that point, I compared African Americans to Asian Americans. Look, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Now, we don't need to read that. Again, that's an unfair comparison and tethers and white supremacists. So why do they have the same arguments? Tethers and white supremacists. Tethers like to bring up small immigrant groups and try to compare them to us. White supremacists, like this guy right here, likes to bring up small immigrant groups and compare them to us. Now, you cannot compare Nigerians, Asians, or Indians to Black Americans. You know why? It's real simple. They represent, so the small immigrant class of Nigerians, Chinese, and Indians that come to America, these are not their dumb. These are not their lazy. These are not their criminal class. These are their top elitists. These are their best educated, some of their most wealthy and most skilled workers coming over here. Okay, so yes, that's an unfair comparison because this is called a selective group. If I have to select people from this country to compete with Black Americans, and I don't select Black Americans, that's an unfair advantage. If you're going to select certain people from India to compete with us, then select certain people from us to compete with them, to compete with that selection. So it should be selection versus selection. So the Indians that come over here, the Nigerians that come over here, and the Chinese that come over here, they are selected. They're representing their countrymen to the fullest, to the best. So you can't compare somebody elitist group to the everyday foundational Black American. That's an unfair comparison, and only white supremacists and only tethers would do that. There's no scholar with a credible reputation that will ever do that. They compare immigrant groups with immigrants. So you'll hear about Nigerians outperforming other immigrant groups. Hold on one second. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, they didn't know that I allowed my kids to go over there and play. My kid, not kids. Okay. So what I was saying was, that's why I said with Lex, you don't want this environment, bro. You want a clean, stable, quiet environment, which you're gonna get. So what I was saying was, yeah, you can't compare selected immigrants who are the top elite of their class and compare them to all of Foundation Black Americans. You can't even do that with us and them. That's just a bad faith comparison. It really is in every sense of the word. You can Google it, ChatGPT. They all say you cannot do that. You compare immigrant groups with immigrant groups. So you compare the Sudanese, the Ethiopians, the what's the ones, Nigerians, Jamaicans, Chinese, Indians. You compare the immigrant groups to immigrants, and Nigeria is number one. I think China or India is number two, but I think Sudan is at the bottom. So Myron is at the bottom of the immigrant class that come over here. It's supposed to be productive. So, but this is a white supremacist argument.
6.4% for blacks, 5.3 for whites.
I want you to do this. Keep in mind, he's comparing us to Asians right now. Watch this. Like everybody has a issue with us because we are those people. Because if we weren't, so many people wouldn't be trying to attack us in all sides. So now they want to compare us to a selected, highly educated, highly wealthy Asian group. And watch this. It ain't gonna stop here.
Out of 70.
So this video said, but in the future, African Americans won't be compared to Asians anymore, but to African immigrants. So watch this. Watch this.
Main point, the evidence against it, I think, is that black African immigrants who are often darker than American blacks, who are often darker than American blacks,
than American blacks,
thrive in America. If there's so much racism, how do Nigerians do so well? They out-earn the average white American.
Well, because they are motivated
and
they'll do jobs that other
culture,
people
they have
do,
two parents.
Right.
And
JJ Mars.
They
okay,
were
so you see, look.
Raised differently.
So they were raised differently. So again, you see, they cherry pick. They never say Sudanese. They always, they're gonna say family. When they come, even the tethers that come here from Jamaica, whatever, when they pull the same argument, they use the same immigrant groups. They don't say other ones. They always go to Nigerians, Asians, and your Indians. You won't hear anything about Ghanaians. You won't hear anything about Kenyans. You won't hear anything about Jamaicans or Trinidadians or Haitians. It's gonna be the same three immigrant groups: Indians, Nigerians, and Asians, because those three groups, above all, are highly selected to come over here. H-1B visas, student visas, not those lazy ass tethers, the other ones. All right. So that's a garbage argument. And they all tried over here. And the audience, you guys are new, but people who've been here for a while, they all know. Oh, you done effed up now. I'm the wrong person to bring up that dumbass comparison. I'm gonna cook them because I know they don't know anything about hyperselectivity. So I gotta educate them. It's like, yeah, okay, really? You ever heard of hyperselectivity? And this is a real term. You can Google it, Wikipedia, ChatGPT it. This is a real term, and it explains it exactly how I just explained it. Probably better, obviously better, it's AI. But nothing's gonna be different. It's a highly selected group, and you cannot compare them to anybody other than another high selected group. And by the way, this video is part of the storyline what we're doing. This video was before there was an ADOS, before there was an FBA, all that type. This video is like 2007, okay? And they knew that we had to call ourselves something different. He kept saying native blacks or something else term. He called us DOS. He called us everything because he didn't know what to call us because there was no official ADOS or FB at the time. So but he made it clear, like, hey, we got to come up with a name that is exclusive and not all inclusive, like African American and Black. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Fast forward. Just a bit. I think I got everything I want out of this. Okay, right here. All right, here we go.
The title of my remarks is going to be on the...
Look at the date. This is Professor Kevin Brown, FBA ADOS, 2015. That date predates ADOS and FBA. So foundational Black Americans been delineating for the longest, okay, in the early 2000s for sure. They just ain't have a set term to call us. And they did not have a set term to call our ops that were Black but non-FBA. Professor Kevin Brown, listen, and they'll call this being divisive.
The changing racial and ethnic ancestry of Blacks in the United States. And this to a certain extent gets to your question about what's the proper term. Is it Black? Is it African American?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let me go back a little bit. I'm just going to read, I'll go back. Let me read a comment. Claude Neely Francis Amos said, the misuse of statistics, we should study how they are used to manipulate. So I covered some of that yesterday when I said they pick and choose when they do per capita and raw numbers. So I did that yesterday, and I got an actual video. So that's not live. It's just an upload. So Claude, you might want to check my archives. So I got a bunch of short videos, about 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, that covers almost probably anything you can bring up. So I got one called per capita and raw numbers, something like that in archives. 3, 4 minutes, and they explain why they're dishonest when they pick and choose. They want to do per capita. So when the raw numbers doesn't benefit them, they'll say per capita. But when per capita doesn't benefit them, they will use raw numbers. They cherry pick back and forth.
United States. And this to a certain extent gets to your question about what's the proper term. Is it Black? Is it African American?
Question it.
Historically in the United States, there were very few voluntary descendants of Africa who came to the United States. The overwhelming majority of us were brought during chattel slavery. However, since the 1960s, we've seen an extraordinary increase in voluntary Black immigration into the United States. And this is changing the racial, changing the ethnic ancestry of Blacks in the United States. And I want to talk about the implications of that. So I'm going to start with Black immigrants. So can you go to the next slide? Okay.
Black immigrants.
In 1970, only 1.1% of the Black population was foreign born. This increases to 4.9% in 1990, to 8.8% in 2010.
Look at that.
And actually goes up to 10% in 2012. So right now, 1 out of 10 Blacks in the United States are foreign born.
You see that? They got the numbers, man. So he broke it down, 1% in the 70s, and then 4% in the 90s. And look how it just spiked and spiked and spiked. That's why we know you were not here in the 70s. We know you started to make an introduction in the 90s. Your real arrival came in the 90s. We know this. We know this. Then we got to look at the 90s. What was going on? What type of influences were you guys bringing over here? What type of negative influence were you bringing over here to Black America, FBA America, and what did we take from you guys? You know, a lot of that, they brought a lot of that degeneracy over here, and we ate that thing up. We ate that thing up.
Indeed, if you just go to New York, a majority of the blacks you see in New York City are actually foreign born. So you're not actually interacting with African Americans, you're interacting with Nigerians, with Ghanaians, with Jamaicans.
I'm here. I was waiting for you. I'm here. I'm here. I got something for you, brother. What was that Sundry Act? So I'm here. Put that Sundry Act in the chat real fast. Put that in the chat.
Their concern is about what's going on in Ghana, what's going on in Nigeria, not the struggles of African Americans.
Right.
There's some very distinct differences between the cultural identity of black immigrants and the cultural identity of African Americans. Black immigrants immigrate to the United States for the same reason everyone else does. They're optimistic about coming to the United States. Their home culture or their cultures are indoctrinated into them in their home society, not in the United States, and not influenced by the history of the struggle against racism in the United States. Indeed, as I indicated earlier, I have been to Africa 10 times, South Africa 4 times. So when I'm in South Africa, I'm a black immigrant in a country with a history of racism of black people who are not my people. So when I'm in South Africa, I don't see myself as connected to the black South Africans.
Right. You're not going to lie to yourself.
My concern is for my African Americans back home. And whites interact with me very differently than they interact with native South Africans, black South Africans. There's no history of discrimination against us. We're good friends. We can joke. They don't worry about what they say. I don't worry about what I say. And this is what's going on with black immigrants in the United States as well. They're simply having a very different experience with race than your African Americans. And of course, their percentages.
But then they'll lie and say, hey, man, when the police officer pull you over and pull me over, they don't ask shit. And I always question why we getting pulled over in the first place. I'm looking at you like you're the informant.
Are increasing in fairly significant numbers. So all of this seems to suggest that we are really watching some fundamental shifts in the traditional struggle of the African American in the United States and in some real way.
Got a cool channel. All right, so let me see what else I can get out of here before this. Okay, so I think that's it, what I want to get from here. Okay, so let me end that one. All right, so we're coming to a close. See, I still want Kwame, so maybe Kwame later. So I'm gonna finish up on this Pan-Africanist dialogue. If it is it good or bad? They're debating, is it good or bad? Should we be doing this or not? And then I'm gonna try to get Kwame a little later.
Conversation with myself. So, for example, Lawal Deng comes to Sudan. He does this thing, and he's creating jobs.
Street food flies on. Yeah, you crazy. Yeah.
That's all they need. Is if you can create a job and you can create something that can be.
Oh yeah. So I'm here. He said Sundry Free Moors Act of 1790 in South Carolina connected to the Kingdom of Morocco. Sundry Free Moors. Okay, cool. Now, so here's the next thing. Thank you for putting that back in the chat. So here's the next thing. So you put that in the chat. Now, what would be your reason why you put that in the chat? Maybe I missed that the other day, 2 days ago, but I'm here. Can you explain your reason for putting that in the chat?
For them and be consistent would be great. But then I also have this conflict with me where thinking to myself that does capitalism help Pan-Africanism, and can capitalism work with Pan-Africanism?
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, because we all need money. I mean, that's what we all bank off of. What's our economic whatever that's how it's the same thing.
Being collaborative. So within the continent itself, we have the African Free Trade Agreement, but it's not really being enforced. And what that basically was going to do was to make it possible for us to trade like country to country, because right now we're not trading with each other. So you have to go outside and import stuff.
But I was more so trying to get you, because remember, we were playing the Moorish guy that got pulled over by a police officer that thought he could drive, he could travel without a license. He got hella tickets. And so you put that Moorish, you put the Moor Sundry Act in there. So before you go to the second one, 1942, I'm more interested in the 1791. The reason why I want you to explain that and expound on that, because the 1791, I hear a lot of Moors reference that. And I know why they use it and it's wrong. I want to know why you use it, because I want to see if you use it for a different reason or you might have the same misunderstanding they have. I don't know. So I'm asking before I make a judgment. I'm just asking. I know why they use it. I was asking, why do you use the 1790 Moors Act of South Carolina? I just want to know why you used it. That's all.
Fin versus being able to, like, I'm from South Sudan, Uganda. Let's export goods. Like, let's work with each other. So how are we, like, when you talk about Pan-Africanism, Africa itself is not collaborating and working together,
right?
Like, and it's by design. But when are we going to push back and say, hey, like, Africans first, we're going to work with each other. We're going to trade with Ethiopia, which is right
there
to do
that
we border
but
with,
won't do
versus
it.
exporting stuff from outside of the continent. So that is, like, my next question is, like, okay, is it realistic? Because within the continent itself, we are still separating ourselves. Obviously, whenever we were colonized and stuff, we were broken up into different countries, but it has to start at home for us to be like, okay, we're going to go invest in Africa. Right now, if we go invest in Africa,
link in the chat.
it's very hard to move within African countries. Like, they make.
Yeah, so she's keeping it real so far. Yeah, put the link in the chat. I'm here. Let me read what you're talking about at the office. But right now, she's cooking a little bit.
Get difficult for you to, so
yeah, I think that's a great question. Where does it start? Go ahead.
I want to say, I feel like that's where the diaspora gets the seat at the table, because we in America, we have friends from every single country, and so that's not an unfamiliar concept to us. And something that I learned recently, one of my cousins told me, they were like, if you like back home, if you don't know somebody, the chances of you getting, because it's like I'm gonna help my people first, right? Which is great, but then it creates a division, because if you don't know somebody if you don't know the person who's building the hotel, the chances of you getting a job in that hotel are very low, because you don't know, you're not related to them, you're not from the same tribe as them. And so I think that's where the diaspora, and again, I feel like when we think I think with the whole Pan-Africanism in extremes, nothing works in extremes. If you take a fish and you move them from one water to another that's at a different temperature, they're not going to survive, because it's shock therapy. Yeah. So I think if everybody gets a seat at the table, as opposed to we come in and we take over. Because
when you say everybody get a seat at the table, everybody like who?
We know what's best. We don't know what's best. There's things at different levels that we won't understand. We may be able to get the bigger picture of we need to work together with all of the countries, but then the people locally will be able to really identify those things that maybe we can use in the big picture. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
you're Somali. So when we look at Minnesota, where you guys have been able to build a community like a Chinatown, not the Chinese only, like the Hispanics, they have like their little Mexico. They stick together. Indian people
even in Dallas is like a little Ethiopia.
Yeah, a little Ethiopia. But Somalis have said, okay, all Somalis in the United States, we are gonna make Minnesota. I know.
Yeah, that's the country men I was looking for. Somalians. I was gonna say, like, why don't they compare us to groups like the Somalians and the Sudanese people? Why is it always the Nigerians, Chinese, and Indians and Asians? When I said, I'm sorry, why is it always the Nigerians, Asians, and Indians? Why don't compare FBAs to the Sudanese people and Somalians? That's the people I was trying to think of in Minnesota. I can't remember.
When I went to Rochester earlier this year, it was like being in Somalia. It was crazy, because the the Uber drivers, the restaurant, everything, like, you guys all decided to go back home, start businesses, open stuff up. So we want to emulate you as South Sudanese, but if you could speak to like your community and your ability to create that in diaspora.
Again, I think that goes back to what he mentioned, where it was like, there's a beauty shop and it's for Black people.
Video about it was like South Sudanese adopting African American culture, and we had some people who are a part of a group called the Foundational Black Americans.
There we go. I wanted to get it spicy. Now it's spicy. All right, so now we got it spicy. Here we go.
And we had some people who are a part of a group called the Foundational Black Americans. Honestly, I did not even know. I was not even aware that most Black people, well, not all Black people were not Pan-Africanists. I always assumed that Black people were all Pan-Africanism because I
You see, and this is why that tether that I featured from Tariq Nasheed live the other day that said, "Hey man, the Pan-African flag was a staple in every home." That's what everybody thinks until they actually talk to Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. Like, anybody had that flag in their house, man? How you talking about?
thought that was like the most beneficial. Most Black people, well, and we had some people who are a part of a group called the Foundational Black Americans. Honestly, I did not even know. I was not even aware that Black people, most Black people, well, not all Black people were not Pan-Africanists. I always assumed that Black people were all Pan-Africanism because I thought that was like the most beneficial mindset for everyone to have. But there's groups of people who believe that they don't identify with Africa or Africans
or being called
Africans. They identify more with being Black Americans. Like I think I looked up the history, and they believe that their history started before slavery, before them coming to America through slavery, but they came in the early 1500s through a colonizer from Spain, or Spanish colonizer, and they came to like Georgia and South Carolina, and that's where they settled, and then they brought Black people with them.
Well, there's also some that say that they're indigenous to this continent as well.
Yeah.
I've been seeing that as well. Some that say that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. See, now this is why they need an educated FBA person on the panel, because I would say all that is irrelevant. We can tie our lineage to slavery. That's it. It don't matter what you call yourself, what name you call yourself. That's all cool and fun, but the bottom line is, do you have enslaved ties or no? Can you tie your lineage to enslavement or not? That's all that really matters. Where you believe you were here or not, child slavery, that's all irrelevant. Can you tie yourself to enslavement? If you can't, bye, Felicia. Real simple.
They are the original Indians, or
yeah.
So there's a lot of
exactly. So they think that their history origin started before slavery, and then they fought off the Spanish conquest, and then they settled here in like the Georgia, South Carolina area, and they started.
They're foundational, so they feel like
exactly
their accomplishments, what they've invested into this country through
they
slavery, helping build the country as well. They feel like we as Africans sometimes say, you guys have no culture, but they're pushing.
Oh, you heard it? She admitted it. Okay, she is African. So you heard it? She admitted that they will sometimes say, we have no culture. Why do you, like, we don't care if y'all got culture or not in Africa, in the islands. We don't care. Hey, this way. Yeah, so why do y'all care? Well, our culture. Yeah, this way. Okay, bring it over here. Yeah, so why is that a concern of theirs if we got culture? And that's the thing that just makes me scratch my head. Like, what is going on here? But that's not being divisive, right? That's being loving, right?
And saying, yes, we do have a culture. Like, we are foundational Black Americans. Our ancestors, some say came from slavery, and some say that they were indigenous. I feel like there's a lot of like dissonance. It's like not everyone is on the same page with that, but they just want their respect and accolades, and they feel like us in the diaspora, whether it be Africans, West Indians, Caribbeans, or anybody else, we don't give them that respect that they deserve, as like everyone's like, I guess, beating down on African.
So Pinky Wells, is that a new account? It says Pinky Wells, when did Americans start mining other people's business? Is that your new account, Pinky? I don't want somebody to make up an account for you and it ain't you, and I mod you up, and I'm thinking that's you, and it's probably a tether who's like. And so let me know if that's your new account. Tashi D.
African Americans
or Black Americans. They call themselves Black Americans.
That is true though, because there are many Black people, African Americans that are in America, that they are Americans because at the end of the day, they are Americans. You don't go to
Okay, phone
England
that.
and you
I
meet
got you.
a African British. They're British.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times it's that in America there's this disconnect where you're Mexican American, you're African American, you're Asian American, but then if you're white, you're just American. And I feel like no, if you're able to trace your lineage all the way to 1700, are you not American? You are American at that point.
And a lot of them have intermarried, had kids, like, you know, so.
But I feel like there's very
Okay,
historical
I got it.
facts
I give her a
Africans
rent.
actually coming
I
to
wasn't
America
sure.
before the Europeans. The Europeans were not the first people in America. There's South America used to connect to Africa. There's a lot of
But they
stuff
feel
like that, so I don't wanna
excluded
get-
basically.
Where?
So when we talk about Pan-Africanism,
They
is
don't
it
agree-
going
they
to
actually don't agree with- they don't agree with Pan-Africanism.
And they shouldn't.
But
I don't think
but
they.
it's like you
they
don't.
Right. There you go. There you go. See what I'm saying? He said he should.
Too.
That history was erased from them. So even if you could trace, even if you could say, yeah, you're from Africa, from where?
Yeah,
You
but
know?
some of it,
There's
so
no
it's not
documentation.
everyone that pushes
like,
back. Yeah.
I think it's we as Black people everywhere in the world, we have our local problems, but we don't realize like there's like a connection on a bigger level of why we have these type of problems. And I agree with you, Chris, in terms of
It's back to the government. Please listen. Let's just stick to FBAs, man.
if we as like Black people everywhere had a level.
How this leprechaun stuff. Lala says, if what Shell Dredd had said, if they are half FBA, wouldn't that mean? Nah, I'm lost now. I don't know what nationality Shellhead is or the sister next to him. Shorty Peace. Somalis want to be like us. FBA so bad they and you know what's worse than somebody just regular cosplaying. When people cosplaying and we don't even interact with them at all. Like that's worse than somebody who we interact with that cosplay. The cosplayers who don't interact with us at all. Like they are the worst cosplayers.
Level of economic power, which comes with
Yes.
military power, of course, they're interconnected. Like treatment of Black people anywhere would not be tolerated. You know, like if we could be like, yo, like for example, like if some countries in Africa were powerful enough, they would send a message to like America with the George Floyd situation and be like, this isn't.
You can say shit. Go ahead.
Yeah, that shit is not that shit is not acceptable. We're not gonna accept you guys just shooting Black people off the street, like and choking them, like it's like like we're gonna do something about it economically. Like we're not gonna trade with you, or we're gonna put sanction on you.
Exactly.
Sanctions.
Right. They should have stood like that, but that's not how they stand. They don't stand on business like that.
Ultimately,
it's not gonna happen. We put the Japanese in entrapment camp when the Japanese was the largest empire in Asia. So when people talk about the whole of Africa, they don't realize how big Africa is and how many countries there are. So when people are saying, well, if we had an African, a large African country that can tell us, okay, George Floyd did this, it's not going to happen, because at the end of the day, we're fighting our own tribalistic warfare to not even care about what people are coming.
Yeah, he actually keeping it real.
In the diaspora. So the whole part of African, the whole thing about it is that as far as connecting is making sure that we in Africa, they have to do better for themselves first. They have to disconnect their dependence on other resources, whether it's from Europe or now coming from China. Until
I like what he's saying.
they're able to do that, then we're able to come in there with our knowledge, because once you connect the whole thing with people, they become a disconnect. It's knowledge being transferred back to the continent. That's what it is. It's knowledge, because how you can kind of get the whole economic structure happen is typically by trade, highway, currency.
Yeah, I agree, Lala.
We need a trade
in Africa.
system.
There's, I don't know how many currencies there are. There are multiple currencies.
But wouldn't you say
West Africa, they're still using the francs. Even France don't use the francs, but we're still using the francs.
Even the France don't use the francs. That's funny.
East Africa. So the first thing that needs to happen is like, okay,
hey, yo, that's a bar. I'm gonna look that up. He said even the French don't use the francs, and we're still using the francs. Well, where'd it go? Yeah, that was a big. That was a B. That was a Hornet, actually. Yeah, that was a
Let's
bar, though.
set up an interstate highway system the way
Okay, I get
Eisenhower
'em.
set up in America in the 50s. Let's set up a currency, one currency for the continent. So now now the trade is easier because if you're making coffee in Ethiopia and you want to send it to Ghana to trade for chocolate, you got to trade it to Europe first before it comes to Ghana.
Yep.
So why not just trade directly?
Right.
And I think that's what it is a lot of people are thinking of like, okay, well, we can just move back there and they're just going to welcome us with open arms. That's not going to be the case because at the end of the day, as humans, one of the first things that we hate is change. Yep. If I go to my house and the degree is changed by 1, I'm already pissed off. Like, what's going on? What happened? So we hate change. So what has to happen is that change has to come kind of slowly, but the changes has to happen. And if the people don't like it, then that's part of the change. They're not going to live forever. We just got to put the change there.
Is it change or comfort?
It's change.
Because I feel like anybody's going to do anything that they feel comfortable doing.
I don't want to hear that guy.
Listen, you have to.
Upgrade your bed with a cooling mattress topper that keeps you cool and comfortable through the night. A cooling gel pillow that helps you stay fresh.
I had a premium account.
You have to embrace change.
But there's different levels of discomfort. So what I'm saying is it has to be regional. So for example, for most of us, right, we as Sudanese have interacted more with Somalis. We have interacted more with Ethiopians. We have interacted more with Kenyans because they're right next to our regions. If we start off by doing a sub-region thing where we're actually connecting and trading at that point, then we can eventually get harder. I mean, bigger and bigger.
So
Pause.
But that's individualistic interactions. Those are not governmental interactions.
But my
Right.
I feel like the mindset of like
See, and that's why Pan-Africanism wouldn't work. It cannot work because, like he said, those are individual interactions. We need their government to be Pan-Africanist. Hey, family, you heard me? I don't want to. I'm not impressed meeting a Pan-Africanist from one of these countries. I'm more impressed if their government is Pan-Africanist. Okay, not the individual who's powerless. I've been saying that my life, expressing that for the longest. I do. Y'all individuals, y'all are afraid of y'all government. So y'all need to get, with your Pan-Africanist thoughts, you need to get into government. Do a coup like Ibram Traore or whatever. But we need your government on board. We can never trust y'all if you don't trust your government. How's that possible?
people have is like they see individualistic interactions.
Peace,
The government of
I'm gonna
Sudan
give
is
you a
not
rent.
like
Just
the
go ahead
government
and
of
like
Somalia.
the
There's no
channel.
government in Somalia.
Thank
They're
you.
talking
Like the
to
video.
government. If you're
But wait, what I'm saying is, don't you
hold on.
think
Lala said we out here using comforters to get BBWs now.
that is the role of that's where RC is, that bigger picture, the role of the diaspora to come in and say, look, we have the bigger, we can interact, like you guys can do this. Like
I missed Mackie Samuels. He said the European Union euro has been the national currency of France since January 1st, 2002. He's right. That's what I thought of too. When he said they didn't use it no more, I automatically thought, okay, they might have opted into the whole euro thing. And you just confirmed that Mackie Samuels. Now, Mackie Samuels, I just want to know, just for the purpose of wrenching people up, are you a supporter of Foundation of Black Americans? Are you Foundation of Black American yourself, or are you a critic? You could be either three. It doesn't matter. We're not gonna block you.
Like they don't understand the highway system back home. We grew up here. We understand the highway system. So it's our responsibility to be that voice and at that specific seat of the table.
Can I add?
Yeah, go ahead, Janet.
So before we even move to economic, can we start with just the diaspora visiting Africa and understanding what their culture is and what they're used
bring
to,
it back to ABC
before we
1, 2,
even
3.
get to trying to change things up and do all of that because of where we come from. I think starting from there, we can then have an understanding of what the change is and how to go about it, and then where we fit in that.
And how to navigate in those spaces, because you were saying earlier, when you go back home, you need to tap in with someone back home because you don't know how to move around, how to operate, how to get stuff started.
Right.
I think that's completely extremely important for sure. Don't they every December a lot of people go back home?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the year of return
December
has
in
been
Ghana.
big the last 2 years. Yeah,
December in
the
Ghana.
year of
return or
return.
whatever
Yeah,
the term is for y'all to go back home. I mean, I would love to go back to Africa. I had never been, but I think that's important. I love traveling. The thing about traveling is that you get to go around and you get to be in someone else's world. And I'm not a person that just like to stay on the resort or stay on the property. I like to go in and take a bus out, or if I have friends out there, go out and explore, because it's nothing more opens your mind but seeing how someone lives in their community. And I think it comes down to or whatever document into look at us as just like they're a darker skinned person. When you go
Afro-Caribbean, I'm from Uganda, I'm Ethiopian, I'm South Sudanese, whatever. When you look at the rest of the world, they are united in the fact that they hate the racism towards black people.
right.
Like everyone's united in the fact that no matter if you go to Asia, you go to Europe, like South America, wherever, they are united in the fact that they have agreed that us as black people of African descent are less than them, and they deserve they have free rights to whatever resources. So everyone is in unison, on one accord on the fact that they're going to be racist towards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think we have to bring up
So
the
we
fact
should
that because you being from the West Indies, we have to bring up the fact that some people really do want to disassociate themselves from Africa. So how do we have Pan-Africanism unity when there's so many different types of black people who don't want to be associated with Africa?
Meanwhile, China is colonizing Africa just like the British, just
I hate talking on mute. Okay, so I was just saying, family, I'm out. I got to get my son's 2:30 nap, and I was saying hopefully around like maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock I get back, or 5, 6 again, like earlier than last night. Last night was late. That's 7 o'clock live. I did 8 o'clock live was way too late. I've never done that. So but hopefully I can get back live 5:30, 6 o'clock, and we can go. I can get Kwame over here. We could talk about when he called in Tariq Nasheed's show and got cooked. He think he did good. So I want to review his conversation specifically with Dan to determine whether he did good or got cooked. All right. So hopefully I could get him on a call about that time, about 7 p.m. the latest. Okay. And